All right. Okay, I think we're live. Let's see. Can you guys see and hear me? Hopefully without a huge echo. I can see a few chat messages. All right, everybody's rolling in. I started this a few minutes early just so I could give myself some time to get situated and give everybody else a minute to get in. Everybody's coming in. Please let me know if you can hear me, see me, if the audio's okay. I'm seeing some yeses. Right off the bat, warm welcome to everybody. We've got Makarov, JJ Zone, Ricky Rax is here. Nice to see you over there on the West Coast. Midnight Kitten is here, long-time channel member. Warrior for Christ 94. Miss T is here. Mod, thank you for that. Strolling with Jordan, John Smith, Santee, Joseph, Reynold Gallardo, Alex, Savage Skeleton. Everybody's rolling in. Everybody's saying the audio is good. If you were here last time, it was a disaster. It was a complete disaster. I had to stop the stream, restart it. It was quite crazy there for a few minutes, but it ended up being just fine. Warm welcome to everybody. I'll read the greetings from doing perhaps some gaming streams, something different here. And I'm going to actually try, let's see if this works, to slide this window over where what I'm seeing on the chat appears on the screen kind of next to me. Let me nudge my camera over, and that's good. That way this will appear on the replay as well, even though the regular chat replay will be there as well. Okay, let me look at the messages you guys are sending. There's a bunch of us here at this point. Turner Winstead is asking, who is your favorite and least favorite SpongeBob characters? And this is good, too, having this on the screen so you can kind of see where I am in the chat as far as me looking at it. Favorite SpongeBob character, definitely Sandy the squirrel. Least favorite, I don't know. I know some of you guys like Plankton. I'm not a big fan of Plankton. I'm just not. He's all right, but he'd probably be my least favorite. Excuse me. And no, I'm not sick. All right. Fern, hello to you. Random Channel, hello to you. JJ Zone, who is the worst character at the end of Ned Season 3, Missy or Cookie? Definitely Cookie. Cookie is awful. He's horrible. Way worse than Missy ever thought about being. Renelle saying the audio is good. Miss Key is here. Key, nice to see you. A very active part of the channel and the Discord. No problem. We'll see you next time if you're not able to stick around. Ricky Rax, can we see a sneak peek of the field trip episode? It is coming. We may do that if we have time. A sneak peek, I guess I can do that. The biggest thing, Ricky, is that if you don't know, some months ago, Ricky Rax he got me to buy the Mr. Krabs costume, which you've seen on a short that I did right before Halloween. But I actually do the first two parts of the field trip episode in that outfit. I was not able to do part 3 and part 4 in it, but yes, if I can do that. And Ricky, you'll get it on as a channel member. You'll get it on Sunday, at least part 1. All right. Hensel Molina says, is it really true that Burger King has a new SpongeBob meal? Yes. And I'm going to stop. And as you know, anytime someone donates, I'm going to go straight to their message. So I'm going to go straight down. Someone donated. It's William Armstrong. Thanks a lot for your $5 donation. I really, really appreciate it. If you don't know, anytime someone donates, I just skip straight down to their message and read it. So William says, yo, what's up, Brandon? Here's a question for you. What made you want to start your own YouTube channel? And if you're new to the channel, you don't know the story, but many of you do. But I'll give like the condensed version. So during the pandemic, like many of us, we were shut down. And so I had more time on my hands. I was an assistant principal at the time. And I watched a lot of reaction videos, but not just random people. I would watch like Dr. Mike, Legal Eagle, back when it was good, and others that were professionals in a particular field that did reactions. So I just searched for it. One day I said, I searched for principal reaction video just to see what I would find, and it didn't exist. It literally did not exist. So that's where I got the idea. And it wasn't until a couple of years later, after I had been a principal for about a year or two, that I started the channel. So once again, William Armstrong, thanks so much for your donation. I really appreciate it. Anytime someone donates, I usually skip straight down to that message, but I try to read all the messages, whether you donate or not. Okay. Let me find my place here. Where was I? I was here. Hensel Molina talking about the Burger King meal. I did see that. The Discord warned me about that, so I may have to do another version of the, or it's not another version. It's just trying it out. A couple years ago, or around a year ago, Wendy's had a SpongeBob, I forgot what they called it, but some sort of Krabby Patty collab meal, I think is what they called it, and then I ate it. You can go now and watch it if you want. I ate the meal. I tried the meal on a video, and mine was missing a tomato, and I got mad about it, and you guys prompted me to watch the episode, what was it, where he's missing the pickles with Bubble Bass, whatever his name is. That was a good time. I'll have to do that. I promise I'm not sick. Samantha Robinson says, hey, Brandon, can you please review Danny Phantom, The Ultimate Enemy? That is the top episode that keeps getting recommended on Danny Phantom, so it's going to happen, yes. Brian Hicks, channel member, is here. Santee says, I'm hyped tomorrow for SpongeBob reaction you're doing. Yes, cracked crabs. That is one of the funniest ones, to me anyway. It's right up there with Krusty Towers. I don't often give an episode a 10 out of 10 rating, and usually that's just my enjoyment factor of it. That one was a 10 out of 10. I think only a few episodes, 3, 4, 5 maybe, videos on the channel that I've reacted to get a 10 out of 10. That one gets a 10 out of 10. It was really funny. I'm hyped too, even though I've already seen it. Lucas the Gamer is here. Turner Winstead, my school is having a play tomorrow, and I'm in it. Oh, that's pretty good. Hope you do well. Hope everything goes well with that. That reminds me, I just watched recently the second episode of the show Victorious. I am going to do some Victorious. It's not going to take the place of Ned's, but I am going to do that from time to time. I know a lot of you like it. I really liked it, and it's really growing on me because I used to work at a school exactly like Hollywood Arts. Exactly. And they really get a lot of it right as far as the culture of the school and some of the things that happens at Hollywood Arts. And as you know, if you're familiar with that show, the second episode is the bird scene, and it's all about the theater program. Okay, Mr. Knuckles, do you plan on trying out the Burger King SpongeBob meal? I most certainly do. Miss Key, I see the clapperboard. Yeah. Wait. It's over here. Yeah. So I'm in a new studio space. If you don't know that, this is a new space for me. It's way better than the tiny corner of my former home that I used. But yes, there's a clapperboard right here. That was a really cool thing that YouTube did for some people in the partner program. Joseph says, you should do a react video to the old show Principal's Office. Yeah, some of you know, I've attended a conference a couple of times where this guy he's a big speaker at different principals conferences, and he was actually one of the people on the Principal's Office, and he played part of an episode of it when he was speaking. It was pretty good. Yeah, I may have to do that. It was pretty realistic, I remember. Pretty true to life. Savage Skeleton, I've been watching your channel for over a year now, and I have to say I love your videos, especially SpongeBob. I really appreciate it, Savage Skeleton. Thank you very much. All right, do I see another donation? I'm going to skip. And now you can see the chat. You can see my window, so you can see that I'm skipping down to it. Yo soy Merlac, a $4.99 donation. Really, really appreciate it. Yo soy, or I guess I should say Merlac. So he says, you really hate Gordy, do you? I don't hate him. I actually like him as a person. He's just a horrible employee. He's gotten fired so many times. And I see another donation there. But Merlac says, you really hate Gordy, do you? Haha. If Gordy would be on your school, he would probably already be fired. Yeah, I really don't hate him. I've met a lot of people in real life in my career that were great people. They were just horrible employees, horrible teachers. They just needed to go find a different job. And I think that's the case for Gordy. He just needs to go find a different job out there. Thanks very much, Merlac, for your donation. I really appreciate it. Kaimani Burrell, channel legend, principal's office level member. He says, with the $2 donation, I'm here. How are you? Glad you liked Victorious. Thanks for being here and modding. He's also a channel mod. I'm doing good. Not too bad. I drank energy drink right before this, and I'm prepared with my Diet Mountain Dew here, Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. So hopefully I'll last a while. But yes, I really liked Victorious. Number one, because I don't know, it's just entertaining, it's clean, it's funny, and it's very true to life. I thought it was so funny on the first episode where they're playing the game, which does happen in real life in theater programs, where you have to start with you go in order of the alphabet. And Kat on the show, she gets out of the game. She makes a mistake, and then she gets out. She has to leave the stage, and she says, "My life's the worst." And then Sikowitz says, "Oh, here's a piece of candy," and she's like, "Oh, yay!" Like she forgets about it. That's pretty true to life. So thank you, donators, Kaimani Burrell and Yosoy Merlac and William Armstrong for the donations. I'm going to go back to the regular chat and find my place as I open my Mountain Dew here. That was super loud, wasn't it? Okay, let's keep going. Okay, getting behind. Wow, I was way up here. All right. I'm going to have to go faster. Turner Winstead, talking about his favorite characters. Alex, what episode did SpongeBob come out? January 2nd, 2026. I see another donation. And Alex, to answer your question, I think it's The Lost Mattress, and that one's still being edited. Donation. So, of course, I'm going to skip straight down. Such a turd. I always feel a little weird when I say that username, but that's their name. Such a turd with $9.99 donation. I really, really appreciate it. Such, I'm going to call you Such. He says, in school, would you consider A word, D word, H word not cursing because A is donkey? Okay, all right. All other words were off the table. Yeah, so I know what you're saying, and it's all profanity. It's all going to be considered profanity, such. So there's such a thing as worse profanity and not as bad profanity, but it's all profanity. Yes, you're going to get in trouble for it. Most school handbooks just say profanity is not allowed, and it gives some consequences for it. So I've never seen a school handbook that goes into that much detail, but I think it's generally considered that those are profanity. So, but thank you for the donation and the question. That's not a bad question. From Such a Turd, Kaimani Burrell, Merlac, and William Armstrong. All right. Let me find my place and keep on going until, unless we get any more donations, I'll just keep going. I need to hurry it up, though. Where was I? I was above William's donation. Okay. Makarov, hope you're doing good. Today I'll be watching Five Nights at Freddy's. I saw a trailer for that. It looks pretty scary. I'm doing well, thank you. John Smith says, favorite and least favorite Ned's character. My favorite, I think it's Seth. He's just funny. He's the Patrick Star of Ned's. My least favorite, will be my least favorite Ned's character. Cookie. I think Cookie has become my least favorite just because he gets so horrible at the end. Hensel Molina, yep, I agree. Lance Jackson says, hello, I'm Lance. Just wanted to say I love your content. I appreciate it. Clayton Moore says, hey, Brandon, I hate that Ned's Declassified every Tuesday has to come to an end. Yeah, and if you don't know this already, most of you do, the finale is broken into 4 videos because it's so long. It's like a 45-minute thing. So it's going to be part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 4 will be December the 30th. And I did not plan it that way. It just fell that way at the very end. And so 2026 is going to be new year, new show. It's kind of funny the way it worked out. Okay. Ronell says, have you checked more Hey Arnold? I have. I do plan to do more. Fern, I was wondering if we'll play the Stanley Parable. Yes, I really, really want to. That was a fun game, and there's so much that I haven't done on there. And a lot of people seem to enjoy having me play it. Hensel Molina, you should react to the Ned's alternate ending. I heard about it. I didn't know there was one. So if I react to it, I guess it'll have to be kind of after the fact. Merlac, thanks for the donation once again. I don't hate Gordy. I just think he's bad at his job. Joseph, I'm happy you're finally getting around to watching Victorious. Yeah, I know it's been a long time coming, and it was a lot better than I thought. I didn't really know what to think about it. It seemed like I was afraid it would be kind of a relationship show where, like, yeah, they're in school, but they really just have relationship issues and never go to class. That is not the case. And the art school that they go to, Hollywood Arts, there's schools like that. They do exist. They're not very common. But I worked at one for 2 years, and it's been really, really interesting for me to go back and sort of relive some of those times. Okay, Brian Nussbaum, are you going to check out the new SpongeBob movie? I do plan to. Renell, are you really a Braves, Hawks, and Falcons fan? I am, and if you don't know, the Atlanta Braves is the baseball team, the Atlanta Hawks for basketball, the Atlanta Falcons. Not really. I'm not against those teams, but I just don't follow it. Jamal Sampson, great video today. I didn't think I had a video today. JJ Zone, what do you think is the rewarding part of being a principal? Just being able to help people. You have the power to help people, which is why it's such an important job. Turner Winstead says, I think the teacher from Scary Teacher 3D is Miss Trunchbull. Lathon, have you seen the Ned's alternate ending yet? I have not. I didn't know it existed until recently. Brian Nussbaum, if you were to hire one person, would it be Gordy, Crocker, Sikowitz, or Miss Finster? That's a hard choice. They're all pretty bad. I would say probably Sikowitz. As bad as he is, he does know theater, and I have met theater teachers in real life that were whimsical like he was, but they didn't do the things that get him in trouble. He's already had a few potential firings from me, if you can imagine that. Let's see. Renell says, how did teachers and other principals react to your YouTube channel? Most of them do not know it exists. I don't really talk about it in real life in my job. Mama Becca says, I'm eating my dinner and then I'll eat dessert. Warrior for Christ says, I enjoy your videos, but they bring me joy. Could you do reactions of Andy Griffith where you react to Ernest T. Bass? And then Little House on the Prairie. Yeah, and I think I saw a comment from you about that. I do plan to do it. It may not be anytime soon, but I do plan to do that. Lathon Lopez, which Ned's Declassified characters get the most suspensions by the end? Cookie, Ned, I don't know. I'd have to go and count them up. Turner Winstead, getting more snow tomorrow. Lathon, have you decided recess will replace Ned's? Yes, probably so. Brian Nussbaum, I saw somewhere they're selling Kelpo cereal. Someone did send me a picture of that. I thought that was interesting. Lathon Lopez, can you do more gumball? Yes, I certainly can. Relentless, hello, new sub. Thank you so much for subscribing. I do hope you enjoy my content. Samantha says, my friend got me the Hey Arnold Ultimate Collection for Christmas. It's the box set. That is really a good gift. Mr. Knuckles, hopefully this time Burger King won't forget the tomato. Yeah, hopefully not. Lathon Lopez, has Arthur and Darman have been recommended a lot? Yes, they have. Renell says, can you do Fairly Odd Parents episodes? I can do more of them. I've already done a few of them. Luis says, greetings from Peru. I loved your reactions to Ned's Manuel, I'm addicted to your videos. Te agradezco mucho. Me gustan todas mis, los que miran mis videos internacionalmente. Y eres de Peru, qué bueno. Just saying that I appreciate him, and I'm glad he likes my videos. Hensel, it sounded like Mr. Krabs related episodes are your favorite. Yeah, kind of. I do enjoy Mr. Krabs. He's not the best character as far as his character, but he is pretty funny, you have to admit. He gets himself into some funny situations. Just the way he reacts to things is so funny. I laughed so much at the most recently I watched the Lost Mattress, and they called it a cash coma that he goes into. He goes into a cash coma, and the only way to wake him up is with cash. It's pretty funny. Lathon says his mom is from Peru. Natster, thanks for being here, Natster. Excited for Victorious. Mr. Knuckles, and mods, by the way, thank you for watching the chat, watching for different things. I appreciate it. Mr. Knuckles, I saw a YouTuber named React Tuna. Yeah, I've actually communicated with React Tuna before. We're both growing a lot. He's the one that reacts. He reacts to SpongeBob too, but he doesn't appear on screen. He's like the tuna from SpongeBob, like the TV newscaster. He says he reacted to the entire first SpongeBob movie, and I found it unfair that Paramount didn't claim. It depends a lot on what he's doing. I doubt he did the whole thing from beginning to end, and if he did, he probably used some different techniques to do that. I won't go into detail, but you have to do something. You have to you can't just show the entire movie. I doubt he was able to get away with that, but I'll check it out just out of curiosity. Turner Winstead, you've put up your Christmas tree yet, right? I put up not the main one, not yet. I need to do that. Natster, nice, we can see the chat on Livestream. Yeah, I think this will be good. You can kind of see where I'm at on the stream or on the chat. Renell says, have you tried reviewing the 2000 Disney shows? Yeah, the ones you mentioned here have been recommended a lot. Midnight, I'm surprised by how good that reaction to Victorious was. Yes, because you're a channel member and you can already see it. So, as you know, if you're honor roll or higher channel member, you get your videos a week early. So channel members have been able to see that Victorious episode for several days now. Sam Cook, will you ever do any episodes about Zoe 101? I think so. I think what I'm going to do with that, a lot of people asked for that, but when I started kind of previewing it, which I didn't really do with Victorious, but with Zoe 101, I just wanted to see how feasible it was, and it seemed like it was a lot of relationship stuff, like I was saying before, which is not really what this show is about. It's the school stuff. So I may take select episodes that are more school-related and do those. Brian Nussbaum, one episode from Drake and Josh makes an appearance in an episode, okay? Oh, Josh from Drake and Josh, I see. Ricky Rax, it was my first time watching Victorious. Yep, me too. Of course. John Smith, there's a 90-minute special that combines Victorious and iCarly. That's pretty cool. Lathon, can you react to front of the class? You've mentioned that several times. I will get to it eventually. Ricky Rax says that show came out when I was in college. Brian Nussbaum, will you be dressed as Krubs in the finale? The first two parts, but not part 3 and 4. I just wasn't able to do it when I filmed it. Lathon Lopez, you should react to Goldberg's. I remember you saying that. Joseph says, wow, interesting. There's clips of on YouTube of it. I'm not sure what you were talking about there. Let me scroll down. Turner Winstead, what thing in your channel got the lowest rating and what was the rating? I'm not sure what you mean by rating. If you mean like likes, it's probably going to be my very earliest videos because not many people knew about my channel at that time, and they are sort of rough because I didn't know what I was doing. Still don't really, but probably the early videos. Lathon Lopez, still talking about Goldberg's. Brian Nussbaum, are Mondays going to be review videos now? I don't know. I usually don't do a whole lot on Mondays on the channel, but I can always start. Mama Becca, please do Studio C. Start with episode 1. I have seen a few Studio C sketches. Some of them are really, really funny, at least to me. Some of them are not. But I am familiar with that channel. Brian Nussbaum says, how many firings in total did Gordy get? I don't know. I have to count them up. One viewer on the channel did count them up. I think it was Steven. I don't know if he's here or not. But I think it was like 100. It was a lot. I'm trying to make a video that puts them all together. That should be good. Let's see. I'm going to have to skip a few. Turner Winstead, would you hire Starlight from My Little Pony? Yes, I think, well, Starlight, not Twilight Sparkle. I would definitely hire Twilight Sparkle. Starlight, I don't know. I wasn't as impressed with her. Let me see. All right. I mentioned all the donations that have already come in. I thought, okay, there was one. All right. Sorry, Brian Hicks. Sorry if I missed it. My chat window here sometimes lags as far as loading messages. So Brian Hicks, $2 donation. Sorry about that. I didn't see it. Says, do you like 90 shows or 2000 shows better? You know, that's a tough question to answer because I did grow up in the 90s. In the 2000s, I was kind of a young adult. So, but most of the shows from this channel that you all asked for are from the 90s. So, or not the 90s, the 2000s. So I think I have to say the 2000 shows just because they've grown on me so much from reacting to them on this channel. So I would have to say the 2000 shows. So thanks, Brian Hicks. You've been a big part of the channel as well. We've had Brian Hicks and Such a Turd and Kaimani Burrell and Yosoi Merlak and William Armstrong with the donations. All right. Let me find my place where I was. I already read all that. Let's see. Oh, here I was. So I probably wouldn't hire Starlight, Turner Winstead, but Twilight Sparkle for sure. Brianna says, are you going to try the Burger King SpongeBob Krabby Patty Whopper? I most definitely will. Lathon says, I prefer regular Mountain Dew. Danger Dave says, thank you for being here. You've been a big part of the channel as well. Have you decided on the series to replace Ned's? It's probably going to be Recess. Although, at this point, I don't know. Victorious, I like Victorious too, but we'll see how it does Saturday when it goes public. It's grown on me. Miss T says, is it cold there? It is cold. It is cold. JJ Zone says, you should watch the Lunch Lady skit from SNL. Okay. Lathon says, have you met students like Missy? Yeah, I have. Students like Missy do exist in real life, but it's sort of rare. Missy is kind of like an exaggerated version of what that personality type is like in real life. John Smith, Kat is the one that's in Wicked. Okay. Brian Nussbaum says, can you react to the Loud Librarian sketches? I'll have to check it out. Bud says, what's up? It's Kenyon. How are you? I'm doing well. Lathon Lopez says, and is SNL on your list? It's not. A lot of them are not clean, so that's the issue with that. Ricky Rax, have you tried Baja Blast Zero Sugar? I have. I think I like the regular. I like the original. I have had it. You can get it in some stores and, of course, at Taco Bell. But I like the regular kind. Mountain Dew Zero Sugar is my favorite. Okay. Turner Winstead says, who is going on the principal's tier list next year? Well, for the past 2 years, I've done all of the principals, the new principals from the shows and movies that I reacted to for that year, but I'm open to suggestions. All right. Lathon Lopez, for the channel birthday or yours, do Whale of a Birthday from SpongeBob. Okay. Random Account says, hey, Brandon, glad I could catch a live stream. Lathon, have you met teachers who let the kids swear and do nothing? Yes, I have. It's not good, and those teachers, you can very easily get in trouble as a teacher for not holding students accountable for anything, but particularly profanity, because it's so obvious and noticeable. Turner Winstead, would you say there's someone worse than Miss Trunchbull? I'd say she's the worst. H. Crayert, how would you rank SpongeBob characters in terms of morals? How would I rank them? I think that Sandy and SpongeBob are probably at the top. Plankton is right at the bottom. Mr. Krabs is right at the bottom. Everyone else kind of falls somewhere in between. The Edge Quest. Did you try SpongeBob meal at Burger King? Not yet. I'm saving it for a video. I'm going to do it on a video, I think. Mama Becca says, that looks so yummy. I love anything to do with soda. Samantha Robinson. And I see another donation. Let me skip down. It looks like Kaimani Burrell. Is it? I think it is. Yep. Kaimani, channel legend. $10 donation. Really appreciate it, Kaimani. Kaimani says, send Victorious to the polls to go up against Recess, see who wins. Also, when you check out the winter solstice, prioritize Avatar Roku scenes, because that is the lore and the root of the show setup. Okay, all right. And I do plan to go back to your list. I still have a short list of episodes that you gave me, both in here, in live streams, and on comments on the Discord as well. So I will do some polls. You're going to see some other polls as well that are really just for my research, head-to-head shows. But regardless, I would probably do both of them, Recess and Victorious. And I may change my mind. Like if one of them, let's say hypothetically, Recess doesn't do so well, and then Victorious like explodes in terms of views, I may switch those. So because polls do tell me things, but also views. There are a lot of viewers that just don't do polls, but they speak with their mouse or their finger on their phone, right, by clicking on what they want to watch. So thanks again, Kaimani, for the $10 donation, and Brian Hicks, and Such a Turd, and Kaimani again, and Yosoi Morlak, and William Armstrong. All right, let's go back to the regular chat. Ricky Rax asking me about Mountain Dew. And then where was I? I was right around here. Here I was, Samantha Robinson. Currently 10 degrees out in Michigan. It's freezing, but I got Hey Arnold Ultimate Collection. Got to see Wicked for Good. Okay, you're having fun up there, aren't you? Yeah, in Georgia, it has been pretty cold for us, like 30s and 40s, which if you're in Michigan, that doesn't sound bad at all. But in Georgia, we're just not used to that. We're used to the blazing hot temperatures of the summer. Warrior for Christ, what advice do you have for those who have hydrocephalus? I'm not familiar with that one, and have disabilities. I can't speak to the first one, but people with disabilities, my advice would kind of be the same to everybody. Just know your triggers and what how to best deal with whatever disability it is. Each disability is very different than the next. So it's really just learning, education, learning how to get what you need for your disability. All right, Lathan Lopez, have you met school staff worse than Krubs? Yes, I have. Brian Nussbaum says, hey, Feynman, you rock. Nick Ronka says, will the last episode of Ned's be one video or split into two? It'll be split into 4 videos because it's so long. Turner Winstead says, do you think Cookie is very annoying? I kind of do. And toward the end, in season 3, he just became horrible. It wasn't just annoying. Excuse me. It wasn't just annoying anymore. It was just awful. Just awful. Manipulative, lying constantly. He's not a good friend. Lathan Lopez, have you heard there was a School of Rock TV series? I think someone did tell me that. H. Crayert says, I thought the eccentric librarian who showed up in one episode was your least favorite. She was pretty annoying. I do remember that character. She was pretty annoying. Kaimani says, would you want Mr. Piondo, the Soka Swordmaster, or the Deserter in your school to teach a martial arts? I think Mr. Piondo, just because his personality was a bit more chill, if I remember him right. And it wasn't just about combat. They studied other arts as well. So I think it would be Mr. Piondo. Alex says, will SpongeBob Planet of the Jellyfish come out next Friday? I think so. What did I rate it? I honestly don't remember. It wasn't a 10. It was like an 8 or a 9 or maybe an 8.5. I don't remember. JJ Zone, who would be ranked the best student on Ned's and the worst? I think I already answered that. Brian Nussbaum, is the series Wayside on the list? It is. Lathon, you could react to the alternate ending during a live stream. I could do that. I'll think about it. Hensel Molina says, yeah, the alternate ending is only on YouTube. Turner Winstead says, if you react to My Little Pony Equestrian Girls movie, will it be a members only? As long as it doesn't present a huge copyright issue. Lately, those of you who are on Discord know this, Hasbro has been giving me issues with My Little Pony. Hasbro is the copyright owner for My Little Pony, and it's currently in copyright dispute. And if that doesn't go well, then it may have to be members only. It was going to be the Christmas episode, or what's it called? Hearth Swarming Club episode. J100, what do you think of the movie Fist Fight starring Ice Cube? I've never seen it. Ricky Rax, yeah, apparently there's an alternate ending. I haven't seen it. Emma says, it'll definitely feel weird not seeing Ned's every Tuesday. Been watching since that first episode reaction, which is a long time, over a year. I'm not sure when that was. I'd have to look it up, but you've been watching a long time, and I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll have to do some more polling, I think, to see what we need to do on Tuesdays. Hensel says, yeah, I hate relationship shows. Random Account says, you should react to Bella and the Bulldogs. Okay. Logan Lynch, are you going to react to Zoe 101? Probably just select episodes. Turner Winstead says, have you ever heard of Volunteer High School? No, I have not. Lathon says, have you heard of the 80s TV series Head of the Class? I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. Brandon Clardy says, is Recess going to be after Ned's? Right now it is, unless something changes or unless the polls see differently. But the 4-way poll that I did, and I see another donation, Recess actually beat Victorious, but it wasn't head-to-head. Let's scroll down. Where is it? I just passed it. Kaimani Burrell donated 5 School Principal Reacts gift memberships, and I think it's the Hall Pass, which is the lowest one. So if you want on a roll, you have to upgrade. But 5 free memberships. And this is always fun because YouTube just gives them to 5 random people on the stream. And they went to Chris, Crispy Tofu Turkey, who is also a mod, received a gift membership. Brian Nussbaum received a gift membership. Karachi and Danger Dave and X the Pig, all receiving gift memberships from Kaimani Burrell. Thank you so much, Kaimani. That's always really fun when that happens. And congrats to those who got the memberships. Okay. Sorry, I already read all this. Let me find my place. I was down a little bit from this. I think I was somewhere around here. All right. Cowboys Nation, can you react to Invader Zim? It does get recommended sometimes. Lathon, has Ant Farm been recommended? I don't think so. Natster, has to be school-related? Yes, preferably yes, or overwhelmingly recommended. J100, how do school principals get informed about newly made education laws? You go to conferences, and there are organizations that send out newsletters that their job is to do this, like the Georgia School Board Association, the Georgia School Superintendents Association, the Georgia Association of Educational Leaders, all of those organizations and many others do that. And I would typically go to a legal conference every year that I've been to for a long time. It's important to stay informed because that stuff is always changing. Both the law and school board regulations at the state level, and then court cases. Good question. Brett Reply says, which episode of Ned's was your favorite? The ones that come to mind, I like Detention from season 1 and the elections episode. Also, the Spirit Week episode was a lot of fun. There were a bunch of them that I really, really liked. And which one did I least like? The Halloween ones. Those were kind of just weird. They weren't real funny. The J-Mac, what's up? Love the background. Yeah, if you can see my background here, a lot of the stuff that was on my original shelf, there are a couple of shelves that are still empty. The ones that are like, I don't know how to point to them right here. Nothing really on it yet, but that will change. This is a brand new studio space for me. Nick Ronka said, someone made Quentin reviews and made a 13.5-hour review on Victoria, split into 2 videos. That's crazy. Savage Skeleton says, can you react to SpongeBob ripped pants? That is on the list for sure. Lathon Lopez, what Ned's declassified staff would you hire? Durga, iTeacher, Xavier, Sweeney. So given the choice, am I choosing between them or just Coach Durga? Like, would I hire these people? Coach Durga, I would hire, but she would need a little bit of correction now and then. iTeacher, I would probably hire her. Xavier, I don't know. Ever since that, the one where Mose tries to get Feynman to kiss her and she like helps or something, I don't have a high opinion of Xavier. But before that point, I would probably hire her. Sweeney, probably. Gordy, no way on earth. Krubs, probably not. There's some episodes where he does all right, but he's made too many mistakes. JJ Zone, Krabs, Skinner, or Moss? That's a tough choice. I would have to say Skinner probably. Anamore Mania says, I'm waiting for the day Brandon reacts to Naruto series, especially the Chunin exams arc. That is on my list. It is on my list. I've done 1 episode of Naruto. I think it might be a members only video. The very first episode of Naruto where he does something school related. I can't remember. But yeah, the Chunin exams, that is on my list. Lathon says, have you heard Bald Bully Buzz from Ned's Declassified? No, I have not. John says, Born Again Krabs is another one. Yep, that's on my list. Nick Ronka says, there's a Victorious episode where the students have a sleepover at the teacher's house. Someone did tell me that, and you can't do that. I hope you all realize that under any circumstances, really. But they have to method act as given character, and if they break character, they are forced to leave. And so, if you wanted to do that, you could do like a acting camp, like go away to a camp that specializes in like theater, people do that for like band camp and various athletic camps. That you don't have to go to the teacher's house, that wouldn't fly. Nick Ronka, I know who React Tuna is, as do I. Lathon Lopez, React Tuna does that to avoid copyright and not get sued, since his last channel where he used human body got taken down due to copyright. Yeah, you just have to know copyright law and what YouTube's policy and procedure on it is. Okay. Scrolling down. Sorry if I skip your message. I'm going to have to skip a few. Mama Becca says, say your favorite line from your favorite Nickelodeon show, and I'll put a heart in the chat. Nickelodeon. The one that comes to mind is from the SpongeBob episode Ditchin'. And I don't know how. Somebody said, do you study the episodes beforehand? Because I will reference back to them. I just remember them all. I've watched over 100 episodes at this point, and before this channel's existence, I think I'd seen one from the episode Ditchin', where there's this guy, they're like playing volleyball on the beach, and this random fish character is eating fish gummies, and the police, the Bikini Bottom police say, they're like, is this how you have fun, by eating your own kind? I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but that's one of my favorite lines. Turner Winstead says React Tona is Reacts by Night. Lathon, I'm moving to Florida for college, probably going to drive through the Georgia cities, Jekyll Island, Brunswick, and Port Wentworth. Yep. Very familiar with all three of those. John Smith says, do you remember The Emperor's New Groove? I have not seen it. I have heard about it a lot. Isaac, if you're on the stream, I don't know if you are, Isaac always asks for that. Turner Winstead, React Tuna's laugh is priceless. Lathan Lopez, what others have you not gotten to, been recommended a lot? A lot. Probably like 200 different things. The Edge Quest says, I would say 2000s because I was born in 2004. The 90s was before my time. Mama Becca, I'm done with dinner. Now I can have my treat. It's really good. Danger Dave says, favorite aspect of working in education and how does your background experience compare to the many shows you've watched? Favorite aspect, again, just being able to help people. As a principal, you get people that come to you that are in a really tough spot and you're in a unique position to help them out. How does your background experience compare to the many shows you've watched? Most of the shows I've watched are like completely crazy. Ned's is the most realistic, and Victorious actually is not that far-fetched for an art school. Now, it's way different than a normal high school, but for art school, which I did work at for 2 years, it's pretty realistic, I have to say. Brett Reply, are you going to wear the Crub season hat? I didn't have a Crubs hat, but I do wear just the outfit and the sunglasses. John Smith, the star was Zoe 101 was a Britney Spears sister. Oh, okay. Mr. Knuckles says, is December your favorite month of the year? I don't know if I have a favorite month, but I do enjoy December because of Christmas time, and I get 2 weeks off of work during December every year. Who doesn't love that? Lathan, are you spending Christmas at home? Probably so. I've done enough traveling, and I need to spend some time relaxing and creating some new content, frankly, and hopefully doing some live streams. Nick Ronka says, is there one specific Zoe 101 episode you really want to react to called Disc Golf? Okay. Makarov, any Full House episodes coming up? I hope so. It is on the list. There are several episodes that have been recommended. Lathan, how many suspensions do you think Cookie will get by then? I don't know, but he's gotten quite a few. Brett Reply, can you watch Sky High? That does get recommended from time to time. JJ's, I recommended this in the comments, but Saved by the Bell. Yep. I do plan to do Saved by the Bell. Brian Hicks, channel member, says it's okay. Turner Winstead, if you watch MLP School Raise, just prepare for a potential suspension. Lathan says it has Bring It On and High School Musical has been recommended. Both of those have been recommended before. Okay. Brett Reply, have you helped people outside of school? Just in general? Sure, I try to, but I have much more opportunity to do it inside of school. Chris, Cookie breathes. Brandon, no Cookie. Yeah, it's getting to that point, isn't it? Mythical Phoenix Heart, nice to see you all the way from South Africa over there. Just woke up, so I'm guessing it's very early morning over there, maybe. I'm doing well, and I hope you're doing well also. Danger Dave says, have you considered doing any school-themed musicals like High School Musical? Yes. Nick Ronka, a lot of SNL are not clean. More of them ever are, none of them are ever clean. Yeah, I was being nice. Brett Reply says, which are your favorite and least favorite Ned's episodes? I think I already answered that. Lathan says, has Loud House or Bella? Loud House does come up quite a bit. Riofo says hi. Turner Winstead says this year's tier list is probably having Dean Hardscrabble. Yep. And Twilight Sparkle. Yep. You're right. Saturn Evan says, do you intend on watching any regular show episodes? Sponge Guard on Duty has come up a lot lately. So it's coming up probably in January or February. I got to take it. My mouth's getting dry here. Okay. Mr. Knuckles says, what's the hardest class you've had to take when you were in school? Probably AP Calculus. I took a lot of math in school that I really didn't need to take. I just felt like there was a lot of pressure about like if you didn't take the hardest classes that all the smart kids took, which I was in the honors program or the gifted program, then you were like a loser, if you didn't take the absolute top classes. And I did take Algebra 2 and Trigonometry and AP Calculus, and so that was probably the hardest class. Lathan Lopez, have you met teachers who, when kids swear, they just don't say that? They say, don't say that, and then move on. Yeah, and depending on the circumstances, there are times where that might be appropriate. Now, you can't do that for everyone, and you can't do that over and over again, but at least some level of, hey, cut that out. It doesn't have to be an instant write-up every time. However, if it happens again, I would say that's a non-compliance issue and it needs to be taken to the next level. So the answer is yes, I guess. Chris says, I will say the plagiarism sketch on SNL is clean of profanity and is actually pretty accurate to real life. Gabby's here. Gabby says, hi, Brandon. Happy Thursday. I'm so happy you're live today. Nice way to decompress from a long day. Okay, I'm happy to hear that. Brian Nussbaum says, in a future victorious birthday, Helen from Drake and Josh becomes principal of Hollywood Arts. I guess you spoiled it. That's okay. Brian Hicks says, it's hard to imagine a worse educator than Trunchbull. Yeah, she ain't no educator. She's like a torturer. I mean, she throws kids out the window. I mean, come on. Lathan Lopez, have you seen Morgan Freeman and Lean on Me? I know of it, but I haven't seen it. Chris, another donation from Kaimani. Yep, he did. Brett replied, do you have a favorite soda? I would say Mountain Dew is probably the favorite. Brett replies, says, I drink Gatorade. I do like Gatorade as well, particularly Gatorade Zero. I like the lemon lime and the orange a lot, particularly when I'm sick or I don't feel good. I'll drink that. Karachi says, would you watch the Twilight episode, the Twilight Zone episode where the teacher looks back on his years of teaching? Yeah, I think someone mentioned that to me. I think it's on my list somewhere. Lathan says, I don't see why someone would be called on the mom. I'm not sure what that means. Have you seen The Breakfast Club? No. Lathan, have you seen my list of recommendations? Yes. Brian Nussbaum, Victorious could be Saturdays and Tuesdays could be recess. Yes. I thought about that, but then I'm like, what? Then I would never do anything new, like at all. I would just do those 3 shows and that's it. So I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know if that's good or bad. Hensel says Saturdays are for alternating shows. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Turner Winstead, what series have you reacted to as your favorite so far? I'm liking Victorious. I did not think I would like that show. I didn't think I would like it, but I am actually enjoying it, and I've only seen 2 episodes so far. I also liked Fillmore, actually. Fillmore was pretty good as well. And then, of course, Ned's, because they're more realistic. Mythical Phoenix Heart, Avatar is best when you start from beginning to end. People do say that, and I do agree with that. I don't know how well that would work for this channel, but I'm working on select episodes, particularly because of Kaimani. Actually, if you all are fans of that show, you can thank him for that. All of the episodes that I've done pretty much exist because of him. Lathan Lopez, if Mom from Ned's Money episode was a teacher, would it be a fire? Oh, you mean the that parent where Mose babysits? Yeah, it probably would be a potential firing if she was a teacher. Lathan, I'm in the Piedmont region of North Carolina. Joseph says, I'm from Long Island, New York. It's going to be 15 degrees tonight. That sounds very cold, but I'm going to assume you guys are more equipped to deal with it than we are with all the heaters and stuff that y'all have. We're just not used to that. Hope you stay warm up there. Brett reply, can you react to the Hey Arnold Christmas episode? I did one. I think I did one Christmas episode, but probably not the one you're talking about. Nick Ronka says, what category of potential firing do you think Gordy gets the most involved with students not doing his job? It's the involvement with students. It's giving them inappropriate advice that you just can't give students if you're a staff member at a school. Emma says 11 degrees in Connecticut. Whew. I think it's like 40 here, 35-ish It just rained here, so it's really cold for us anyway. 30's cold for us. We're not used to 11 and 15 and stuff like that. Turner Winstead, what was your rating on A Matter of Principles? What was that again? A Matter of Principles on, was that My Little Pony? I can't remember what that was, or if it was, I can't remember what show that was. Brett, have you had students with disabilities? Yes, many of them. Mythical Phoenix Heart, while it's cold in Georgia, we are having a lot of rain here in South Africa, and luckily schools are not busy right now. And you're in the southern hemisphere, so that means it's like summertime now there, I'm guessing. I don't know what the temperatures are like. Lathon Lopez, do you think a future president will choose you as head of education department? You mean like the Secretary of Education? No, I do not. You would basically have to be friends with the president or know him on some level, him or her, for that to happen. Brett reply, I always knew Cookie was annoying and awful. Brian Nussbaum, Cookie, do you think? Yeah, good point, Brian. Karachi says, I will also recommend Boy Meets World. Yep, I've done one episode. Lathon Lopez, yep. Scrolling down a little bit. I think I'm probably way behind. Yes, more just loaded. Did you see that? Where was I at? Somewhere around here. Another donation. So let me skip down to that. Kaimani again, channel legend. Kaimani Burrell, $5 donation. Kaimani says, absolutely love Avatar. Sometimes I think I might be getting too much with the suggestions, but there's still a lot to come in due time and patience. Yes, and no, I don't think so. There are people that do go too far, that they'll recommend like 50 different things. You've recommended, 4, 5, 6 episodes. I don't think that's excessive. So I do plan on going through those, and thanks again for the $5 donation. All right. I'm way behind. Let's see, where am I at? No, I've already read these. I'm right about here. Okay. Deadshot Dave. Hey, Brandon, how's life? Life is good. Brett reply, I have autism, so school was difficult for me. I can understand that just from working with so many students with autism. Jack Moon, aloha, Principal Brandon. And he says that because I believe he's from Hawaii. Lathon says, I wish I could avoid channel membership or Discord. Yeah, that's okay. I appreciate all my viewers, whether you have a channel membership or not. Alex says, and Paramount took the same problems for SpongeBob movie. I'm not sure what you mean. Brett reply, what other series do you have on your list? Way too many to name. The list is very, very long. Like, I'm using my phone for the camera tonight, so I can't show it to you. But if I hold my notes app on my phone, it takes like several swipes to get to the bottom of the list, if that means anything to you. Lathon Lopez, what do you think of the Kevin Hart movie Night School? Haven't seen it. Karachi, what do you think of the movie School Ties, Dead Poet Society? I've seen parts of the Dead Poet Society, but I don't remember it very clearly. I plan to do that on the channel at some point. And there's the random gifts the gift memberships from Kaimani. Brett, I've already answered that question. Jack Moon. Yes, if you've been really active on the channel and you really want to get on the Discord, DM me either on Facebook or Instagram or X. You can go to any of my videos and look at the description and find out how to find me on those places, and we'll see if we can work something out. Okay, let's see. Isaac, do we have time for Recess Christmas? Probably not. Sorry. I already have my Christmas stuff planned out. Alex says, what poll is SpongeBob best day ever at? It's on there. It's coming up. There's just a lot of them, and I can only do one a week. Broken Dream says, principles, you need to react some as told by Ginger episodes. That's on the list. Danger Dave, new channel member, thanks to Kaimani, says, oh, wow. Lathon says, for Valentine's Day, are you going to do anything special? I plan on doing Krusty Love, the episode of SpongeBob. It's been requested for a long time. I'll probably end up doing that. Chris says that's going to be my favorite Christmas gift this year. Random account says, is Henry Danger still on the list? It is. I see another donation. I'm going to skip down to the bottom. Kaimani again. Again. My goodness. Again. Wow. With a thanks or super thanks here, $10. I appreciate it, Kaimani. You've been such a big part of the channel. There are several people that have, but you in particular. And I see Jack Moon here says, Kaimani the GOAT. Truly is. He truly is. Thank you so much, Kaimani, for that support. All right. Let me scroll back up. I hope things are going well with your plans. Let me know. I know you're planning on going down to Florida, to Embry-Riddle. One of my best friend from high school actually went there and had a great time. And right before he started, like between high school and college, there were a few of my friends who took a trip down there, and we visited the campus as well. It's a really great place. It's in a great location as well, and it's considered one of the best aviation schools in the country. So hopefully that plan is still working out for you. Thanks again. All right. Where was I at? Okay, I read that already. Where was I at? Somewhere in here. Lathon says, can you do more Phineas and Ferb? Yeah, I do plan to come back to that at some point. DeLuna says, are you familiar with the Forte sound? I'm not sure what you mean by Forte sound. Not sure what that is. I mean, I know what Forte is, but I'm not sure what you mean. Kaimani said earlier, because I'm way behind, it is indeed fun to give memberships for real, which I can choose which tier. Oh, you wish you could choose which tier. Yeah, I've asked about that. I don't think that's possible. Like if you gift memberships, it automatically gives the lowest tier, which in my case is Hall Pass. Maybe someday they'll change that. YouTube does update features a lot, and every time they do that, it's like, yes, that's a good update. I think they talk to creators a lot to find out what to update. Samantha Robinson says she loves Invader Zim. Broken Dreams mentions Jimmy Neutron. I do plan on doing that. Turner Winstead says, I've seen students watching movies on their school computers. Generally, no, that's not allowed. Either they're sneaking around or the teacher is not doing their job. Perfect Angel says, I just got done watching the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Do you have a favorite Christmas or holiday special? Not really. I like the Garfield special, Garfield the cat. And then for some reason, some people think they're really cheesy and corny, and maybe they are. The old like claymation, Rudolph and Santa, and the Misfit toys and all that stuff with the claymation or stop motion or whatever it is. I used to like those. Even though they are kind of corny. Warrior for Christ, do you have a Facebook group, and do you play Nintendo Switch? I do have a Facebook. Not a whole lot is on there, but I do use it from time to time. If you go to my any video and look in the description, the link is on there. Do I play Nintendo Switch? No, I don't have one. That sounds fun, but no, I don't. Brett replied, does your school get involved in organizations? Well, the school has organizations. I'm not sure what you mean by organizations. Like community organizations that we partner with them? Yeah, we do. Yes, if that's what you meant. Minspective, channel member. Ned's reactions are almost over. It's been over 2 years. Thoughts? It's been a great show, and so many people have commented saying, I'm sad, it's almost over. What am I going to do on Tuesdays? And I'm kind of sad too, and I've tried to reassure people I'll still publish every Tuesday. It just will be something probably a little bit different. It's obviously not going to be Ned's. Although I do plan to, if there is an alternate ending, I might take a look at that, and that could be a Tuesday upload, or compilation videos or tier list videos where I talk about the characters or teachers. People have asked for that. The number one requested thing, though, is a Every Time Gordy Got Fired compilation. I do plan on putting that together. John Smith, maybe you could do alternate Victorious and Recess one. Yeah, like one after the other. I'll think about that. Gabby says, I see SpongeBob and Patrick behind you. Say hi to them for me. Yeah, they're right here. Yep. So, hello. That's a little weird. Hello from Gabby. Yep, I've got my shelf set up, and it's mostly the same as it was. I've got Hey Arnold figures. You can't really see them. I've got the little painting of my channel logo. I've got Patrick here. I've got SpongeBob, a random plant, some random books. Oh, you can't see it because of my head, but there's my channel mug, which you can buy. I just like it. And then some books, a clapperboard from YouTube, the Ned's Declassified Replica Guide, and a globe. And then I need to put some other stuff down here. Let me know if you have any suggestions for what might look cool. Lathan Lopez, would you work alongside Mr. Powell? He was an okay teacher. He was a horrible principal, so he would be a better teacher if he got some training. Hensel says, yeah, the Halloween episodes were so boring. Isaac said, could you react to art class? Probably not. I tried. I would have to cut out so much of the episode, it wouldn't make sense. Crotchy, new channel member, says, another sitcom I recommend is Mind Your Language. Okay. Lathan says, is Skinner Sense of Snow on your list? Yes, but I have to check to see if it's going to be doable or not. JJ, would you rather work with Gordy or Sikowitz? Probably Sikowitz. They're both not great, but Sikowitz is at least a teacher. What in the world? Is this another donation from Kaimani? It is. Kaimani Burrell, goodness. Channel MVP. Principal's office level member, one of two that we have. $10 donation says, I have another introduction flight in the summer. I'm also tapping out. I have to go put my 4-year-old brother to sleep and then prep for tomorrow. Have a great night to you and everyone else on the stream. Have a great night, Kaimani. Thank you so much for the donations and for the support and for your update. When the time comes, you'll have to let me know how that goes, your flight. So have a good night, Kaimani. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. Wow. That's crazy, isn't it? Let me find my place. My goodness, I'm behind. Okay, because I know the what I'm reading now, you guys wrote down quite a while ago. Okay, so I'm going to try and speed through some of these. Broken Dreams, Mighty Ducks, you mean the movie? I do remember that from a long time ago. Isaac, would you hire Gordy? No, I would not. Jack Moon says, Mr. Wright as your vice principal? Yeah, I think he would be good. Isaac says, would you want to be the principal at James K. Polk? That wouldn't be a bad gig. Key is back. Hensel says, would you hire SpongeBob to work in the cafeteria? I think he would actually be good. Lathan says, how would you have felt about having a Ned's Declassified staff? Some of them are good and some of them are awful, to be honest. Hellified says, would you be receptive to talking to the main cast from Ned's? I would, but they would have to clean it up for when I'm on there because some people like curse every once in a while. They curse like every word, like every other word. It's ridiculous. I don't know why. I don't dislike them per se as people, but they curse like every other word for some reason. I don't know why you need to do that. Lathan, I have not heard of Schooled. Key. Hall monitor. It's not bad, right? JJ Zone. I definitely, from Tea at the Tree at Home. I definitely don't need it. I need it. Yes, I am familiar with that now. Jack Moon says, as the bell rings, okay. Lathan says, Emperor's New Groove has a TV show. Samantha says, SpongeBob has over 300 episodes, and I've seen 100 of them, believe it or not, over 100. Sam Cook says, I applied to be a substitute teacher a few months ago. They're taking their time with my application. Yeah, that sometimes happens. There are some school districts where they can't get enough subs and they're like desperate for them. There are others that have too many, and so they can be, really selective. So I wouldn't be discouraged by that. Brett Reply says, I saw the ABC series Schooled. Okay. Ricky Rax is asking for a sneak peek. I have a lot more chat messages to read, so if we have time, I will. Otherwise, you'll have to wait till Sunday. Sorry. Chris, is this how you have fun, by eating your own kind? Yeah. Is this how you have fun, by eating your own kind? I don't know why I thought that was so funny. He's a fish, and he's eating like gummy fish, and for some reason that made the Bikini Bottom police mad. Lathon Lopez, did Georgia implement the new phone law? So, yeah, a lot of states have passed state laws banning phones from schools. Every state is a little bit different. There was no like national law, but some states had versions of that. So the answer is yes. In Georgia, we had something passed this summer called the The Distraction-Free Education Act is what they called it. And every state law is a little bit different in how they wrote it. In Georgia, our version bans the use of phones during the day from kindergarten until 8th grade. Bans it, meaning a school can't let an 8th grader use a phone during the day, even if they wanted to. Now, for high school, there are schools that they choose to ban it just because they choose to, but they don't have to. But with the new law, from kindergarten through 8th grade, you have to. You can't allow students to use phones during the day. Isaac says, yep, Emperor's New School. Lathon says, I like March because my B-Day is March 25th. Brett says, what do you do for Christmas? I think more of a traditional Christmas, meaning, get together with people, open gifts, just kind of hang out, eat a lot, that sort of thing. Isaac says, potential firings in the Emperor's New School. Turner, what is your December schedule? If you mean the channel, probably the same, but maybe some live streams and a few extra videos thrown in there if I can. If you mean me personally, generally most school districts, including my own, are going to get the last couple of weeks in December off around Christmas. 2 weeks off. Lathon Lopez, have you seen YouTubers do school-related challenge videos? I haven't seen it, but I know they're out there. Max says, what do you think about policies against students wearing hats in schools? Yeah, I've seen it go both ways. Most schools don't allow it. I'm kind of on the fence. There's an argument for both, because I've heard people say, what's the big deal? We should be focusing on learning and not on hats, and it doesn't really matter. And then I've seen people say, well, we need to, students need to know, they need to know how to groom themselves and all sorts of other things and look presentable. And I agree with both of them to a degree, but most schools that I worked at have banned headgear also. Danger Dave, any highly requested episodes that you just can't do for any particular reason? None come to mind. It's less episodes and it's more entire shows that tend to be really bad, like South Park. A lot of people ask for that. The video game known as Bully, a lot of people ask for that. It's just not going to happen. James Dresner says, hey, Brett says Cookie deserves to get expelled. Close, probably. Key, are you still taking piano cover requests? Yep. Put it in the comments or tell me on Discord. I'd be happy to give it a try sometime. Gabby says, OMG, I just found out the Krusty Krab is a lobster trap. Okay. Lathon says, I recommend this in the comments, but have you seen School Spirits or 100 Things to Do Before High School? I've not. A lot of people recommend the second one, the 100 Things to Do Before High School. I will have to check it out. Gabby says, I can't wait for more Alex Bale theories. I keep forgetting about that, the Alex Bale theory videos. I really enjoyed reacting to those, and so there's 2 or 3 that I need to go back to. Lathon says, react to all if... I don't quite understand that. James Dresner says, will you be reacting to Zoe 101? I will probably do select episodes. Perfect Angel says, Disney had a funny show in the 90s called Dinosaurs. I think I remember that one. Is that the one, Dinosaurs, where I do remember the teenage dinosaur having like a Letterman jacket, but the most well-known thing about that show is probably the dumbest thing about that show, where the baby like hits the dad on the head with the frying pan and says, not the mama, over and over again. I think that's the same show. Lathon, have you seen Matt Pat videos on why school uniforms don't work? I've not seen it. Sounds interesting. Honestly, my opinion on that, it depends on the school. I know some schools that would probably do just fine without a dress code or without a strict dress code, and not having one probably puts more of the focus on teaching and learning. I also have been at schools and have seen schools where you sort of have to have a dress code because it's a bit more rough of a school, and students really need that structure in order to learn effectively, and without it, it would be more chaotic. So I think it really depends on the school. There are schools that could do better without a dress code, and there are schools that really need that structure. Random account, 100 things to do before high school. Nick Ronka, you know how you always complain about on Ned's on how the students are just wandering the halls. There's one specific Victorious episode like that. Okay. How Trina got into Hollywood arts. Brian Nussbaum says, can you react to these SpongeBob episodes? Grandma's Kisses, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. The one, Grandma's Kisses keeps coming up. So that's of the ones you mentioned, that's probably going to be the first one. Lathon says, have you heard the upcoming Victorious spinoff? I haven't, but that bodes well, because over the summer, as you know, I have 3 or 4 reactions to King of the Hill, and when they announced the King of the Hill reboot, like all of a sudden, those videos kept getting a lot of views, like out of nowhere, so that's not a bad thing. Saturn Evan, you didn't answer whether or not you do any regular show. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people, more people would probably have to recommend it. It's on my list, but it's not high up on my list. And you might be saying, well, how does it get high up? Well, it just depends on how many other people also want to see that. So I do see it from time to time, but not a ton. Isaac, could you watch more SpongeBob Neptune episodes like Clash of Triton? I think that one's on the list, but not a lot of people have recommended it. Tater Tot, how bad is the 6'7" craze at my school? Not too bad. I know at some schools it's like practically taking over the school. I think I told this story on a previous stream, but I was riding over, I think it was over the summer or maybe a couple months ago. I was riding through Athens, Georgia, which is where the University of Georgia is. And there was this travel center, and this wasn't like a small place. It was like a big like travel center, and it was a gas station. And the sign where they would normally put, whatever deals are going on, the only thing they put on that sign was 6'7", but it was written out SIXSEVEN 6'7". So, and I'm like, what was the point? And I'm also wondering, like, did it increase their sales? Did people want to go in there because of that? I just thought that was funny. I wanted to take a picture of it, but it was pouring down rain. I couldn't. Miss Key says, I know this is a deep question, but have you ever dealt with a student or teacher that had a panic attack? Yes, many times. Unfortunately, anxiety is a serious issue for everybody, really, but particularly for students. I've had a few teachers have issues with that, but yes, students, and knowing how to deal with panic attacks is very important also. It's tough. It's a tough position to be in. Fox Fan Alley says, guess who? Nice to see you here. Isaac says, then react to the Neptune Alex Bale theory. Okay. Lathon says, the Shallon sketch of SNL is really clean. Saturn, and thank you mods, by the way. Saturn says, what is your definition of a clean show? It has to be squeaky clean. Okay. My definition of clean is a lot higher than a lot of other people's definition of clean, meaning no profanity, no. Think about it this way: if you're going to get in trouble for doing it at school or talking about it at school, then it's not going to be allowed. I'm going to have to start skipping stuff because I am way, way behind. All right. Sorry if I skip your messages. I'm going to start skimming through here. Again, sorry if I skip your comment. Perfect Angel, have you ever had a summer job between school years? Like when I was a teacher? Not really, although the occasional like tutoring and stuff like that is available for a lot of teachers. Ricky Rax, you can do Nickelodeon Day for Friday. Ricky, if I don't do SpongeBob on Friday, people get mad. They legitimately get mad. So I don't think I'm going to be changing Friday unless I've done all my SpongeBob recommendations and requests that I've had, which it will probably take, like, let's say I don't get a single other recommendation as of today. It would probably take a year to get through them. I mean, it's a lot. Isaac, Phil of the Future, okay. Random account. Here in Eastern Kentucky, it's supposed to drop to the 20s tonight. Ooh, that sounds cold. Lathon, I guess this is a question, have you seen two teachers where two staff members have a relationship? It's not a good idea, and there can be some ethical considerations depending on who they are, what they teach, and what their jobs are. It's not a good idea. Have I seen it before? I'm sure maybe I have, but no examples come to mind. Isaac, would you say any James K. Polk students or disability students? You mean students with disabilities? It's really hard to say, and you can't just like say that arbitrarily. That's why even in the real world, you can't just say, oh, this student has a disability. There's an extensive evaluation process that goes into that, and consulting of physicians, depending on what it is. You can't just say that. It's tough to say. I mean, is it possible? Sure. Lathon, if I were president, I will have no problem choosing you as Secretary of Education. Okay, well, if you become president, I'll remember that you said that. John Smith, the blonde from High School Musical, was one of the first times I gushed over a celebrity, okay? Daniel Davenroy, hi, Principal. How was school today? It's very good. Key says, I have selective mutism, so school was really difficult for me. Yeah, I remember you sharing that. Thank you for doing so. Lathon, has School Spirits been recommended? I don't know. Fox Fan Alley, hi, Brandon. How are you doing? I'm doing well, and I hope you're doing well. Perfect Angel, have you ever had any weather-related events while you were in school? Power outage? Yes, I have. So we have a power outage, and that's tough because in school you often rely on the school intercom system and email to communicate, and you suddenly don't have that. However, what you do have, and I was reminded of that during these power outages at two different schools, is you often have the two-way radio, or not two-way, but the long-range radios that you've probably seen school principals carry. And while those do have to be charged up, they're portable. Like, as long as they're already charged up, they will continue to work during a power outage. So what I had to do during all of the power outages is radio to my assistant principals and other administrators in the building with the radio. I would say, hey, there's a power outage. Please go to each classroom and just kind of tell everybody to stay put, and tell everybody to just stay where you are until you hear from us again during the power outage. One power outage lasted for a few hours, but most of them were over pretty quickly. And then, yes, we've had, in Georgia, we have hurricanes are probably the worst thing that I've had, hurricanes, and then just severe thunderstorms and the occasional tornado. We don't have as bad of an issue with flooding, or certainly not earthquakes or anything like that. It's hurricanes are probably the thing we watch out for the most. Okay. Where was I at? Right here. I'm going to have to skip some. Fox fan, have you ever had a student that starved themselves to lose weight? Yes. And that really prompts a discussion with the counselor about while losing weight can be healthy, there's a point at which it becomes unhealthy, particularly if you're losing a lot of weight in a short period of time, or if you're losing so much weight that it becomes you're too thin. There's such a thing as being too thin. So if you're losing a little bit of weight, to try to get back to a healthy weight, that's fine. But there's a point at which it becomes unhealthy, and there's often psychological issues involved with that, which I've had people speak to the counselor, and I've spoken with them myself, but the counselor is usually better equipped to handle that. All right, scrolling down. I'm gonna have to skip some messages. Sorry about that. Brett reply is saying he saw the Krusty Love episode. Gabby, yes, Kaimani is a legend. You're absolutely right. Darren Haverlock recommends the SpongeBob episode Secret Box. Toontail Official, what's your advice on achieving success? That is a big question. I would just say to practice good goal setting, and to just have a goal and expose yourself to different things and try to figure out what it is you like and what aligns with your skill set and the things that you're naturally good at, and then figure out what you need to do to achieve that goal, whether it be education, training, experience, working on something. That's what comes to mind. Fox fan Allie is good, but sad because her cat ran away from home. I'm sorry to hear that. Warrior for Christ, 13 degrees. That's cold. Scrolling down. Nick Ronka says the most interesting potential firing. I don't know. I've given out a lot of them. Lathon, I have not heard about the Martins actor. I have not. Toontail Official says you should check out Malcolm in the Middle. Gabby, yeah, sorry about the cat of Fox fan Alley. Key says, hey, Principal Brandon, if you were a superhero, what would your superpower be? I've always wanted the invisibility power. I don't know why. Or maybe the, walking through walls would be pretty cool. Brett replied, do you like The Nightmare Before Christmas? It's funny that you ask that. I don't like the movie. The movie's all right. I mean, I don't dislike the movie, but I love the music from it. Danny Elfman. I was just listening to one song that the girl sings. I don't know the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. It's really, really good. And as someone that's a student of music myself that can kind of understand the chord progressions, she uses a lot of the Neapolitan chords, if you're familiar with that. It's really, really good. It's good. And it's in minor, and she uses the major 6 chord quite well, and Neapolitan 6 chords. It's just some great music. And then This Is Halloween, which is the one that's most well known, is pretty good. Just the chord progressions in there are really good. Anyway, Turner Winstead, one of the teachers told our whole class to shut up and nothing happened to him. So number 1, that's unacceptable. Number 2, you may not be aware of what happened to him. This would happen often when I was principal. So what would happen is it was usually a student, would do something wrong, right? And someone would report something that, hey, this student did something wrong. So I would deal with it. And then the student who reported it would come back to me later, and they would say, well, nothing happened. You didn't do anything. But the reality was I did do something. Now, what they meant was that they weren't expelled or suspended for a long time. Because short of that, they wouldn't know. they wouldn't know. And I am prohibited by law from telling them because it's part of the other student's record. So I can't say, well, this is what I did, and I gave them this consequence, and I called their parent, and this is what we did to them. I can't do it. So if they don't notice that they're gone from school for a long time, then they think I didn't do anything. So Turner Winstead, it may be that kind of situation. It may be that the principal did deal with them behind closed doors, or given them a letter for their permanent file, or messed up their evaluation. But all of those records are private. So if what you mean is that they weren't fired, right? They weren't fired, because you would notice that. You would notice that immediately, and you wouldn't see them again, and you would notice that you would hear that they were fired. But if the principal did something else in terms of discipline, then you probably wouldn't know. You probably wouldn't know about it, and you would think nothing happened. And is telling the class to shut up on its own a fireable offense? I really doubt that they would be fired for that alone. Now, if they did that all the time, then yeah, maybe. Now, they would probably receive some level of discipline. They're not going to get away with that scot-free. So I can see them getting discipline behind closed doors that you might not necessarily know about because they weren't fired. Okay. Toontail Official, what's the best Christmas gift you've gotten? Oh, goodness. I cannot remember. I've gotten some good ones, particularly from my family. I would have to think about it. It's been so long. Think about it. It's been a whole year since the last Christmas. I cannot remember. Lathon, you should check out Marth Speaks, okay? Nick Ronka, I love Rudolph, even though the moral is extremely problematic. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Key says, yes, Martha Speaks. Lathon says, do you plan on checking out Dara Man? Possibly. Possibly. Toontail Official, did you watch Smallville yet? No, but it's going to happen. Key says, well, we could go back and rewatch Ned's. Shajita's here. Hello, Brandon. Nice to see you. Lathon, do compilation of Cookie getting suspended. Yep, I could probably do compilations of a lot of different things. Toontail Official, were you ever a troubled student growing up? Nope. I don't even think I got written up one time. Never been to the principal's office. I think in middle school I got silent lunch once for like talking in class. That was the extent of me getting in trouble. Okay. Turner Winstead, who took over as head mayor when you retired? And I didn't retire, but I did change to a different type of administrative role. It was someone did take over, though, of course. Brett Reply, how do you get a YouTube clapper? So the YouTube partner program started this thing called Partner Perks, where they offer little things here and there every once in a while to people in the partner program, which is a fancy way of saying that you're monetized, and the clapperboard was one of those items. There's a picture on my community post of me when I got it. I was really excited about that. Gabby says, a portrait of Trunchbull, if you mean things on the shelf from when I asked earlier. That would be pretty funny, wouldn't it? I'll have to think about that. And a lot of other things on my shelf here are things from shows that I've reacted to, like Hey Arnold and SpongeBob and Ned's Declassified. So yeah, not bad. I like that. Shajita says, no disrespect to any teachers or anyone who wants to be one, but I don't see myself being a teacher. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The fact that you don't want to be a teacher is not a negative thing at all. I've known a lot of people who they substitute teach and they find out that it's just not for them, and that is totally 100% fine. Okay, Toontail Official, what's your advice for students with learning disabilities? Again, I said it earlier, just to know yourself and to know what your disability, in what way it affects you so that you can get what you need. Darren Haverlock says, hey, Brandon, I really enjoy your SpongeBob reactions. Can you react to Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy Part 4? Yes, I will look into it. Okay, as you can see, a bunch of stuff just loaded. You all saw that, right? So what'll happen, usually this box is off screen and I'm looking at it and I'll be scrolling down and all of a sudden a whole bunch of messages will load all at the same time. Okay, I was way up here. Wow, I'm way behind. My goodness, am I really this far behind? Yes, I was. Where was I? I was right about here. Okay, I'm going to try and go fast. And I'm going to skip some. I'm just going to skim them, basically. You're giving me shelf suggestions. What was your favorite thing you got for Christmas as a kid? Do y'all remember the Omega Virus? There was this board game like in the 90s called the Omega Virus. And it was kind of revolutionary at the time because it had the talking voice that would like taunt you the entire time. If you remember that, the Omega Virus, I also enjoyed Electronic Talking Battleship. That's what they called it at the time. It was a new thing. It was the Battleship game, but it would talk to you, and you would program your pieces, and it would tell you whether or not, it was hit. I think that's how it worked. I remember those. Maybe make it shine sign added to your shelf to add some victorious. Yeah, I need to add some victorious and maybe some recess up there. Lathon, have you met kids like Evelyn? I have, but not quite as intense as Evelyn is. She's really, really intense. Okay, I'm skipping everybody saying goodbye to Kaimani. Lathon, have you met foreign exchange students who want to stay and not go back? Yeah, I have. Crotchy, would you watch Keenan and Kel? Yes, eventually, if more people recommend it. Samantha Robinson said to Kaimani, you just paid for him to get 2 Krabby Meals from Burger King. I mean, yeah, you could look at it that way. Shajita is recommending Danny Phantom. Crotchy says, was there ever a mini Mr. Finney? Mr. Feeney, you mean? Like from Boy Meets World? I don't think so. Nobody was quite like him. All right. Lathon, have you seen SpongeBob Sailor Mouth? You can go right now on my channel and watch my reaction to it. Just search for Principal Reacts Sailor Mouth and you'll find it. I'm going to have to scroll down, as you can see. I am kind of sort of reading these. Fox Fan Alley singing a song. That's nice. Toontail Official, Even Stevens, and Lizzie McGuire. Those are on my list. Lathon Lopez, have you seen the Ron Clark story? I've been to the Ron Clark Academy and met Ron Clark and talked to him. I thought that was really neat. John Smith, Helga on the Couch from Hey Arnold. I do plan on doing that. Fox Fan, do you sing when you're in good? I guess you mean in a good mood. Yeah, I do from time to time. I've been known to do that. Toontail Official, does having a high IQ guarantee successful life? No, it doesn't, because it's choices. Making good choices. It's really corny and really cheesy, but it's true. Choices. There are plenty of people with a high IQ that have made bad choices, and so they don't have so much success. And the vice versa. The opposite is also true. Is it Lathon Lopez? Is it different for a teacher in juvenile detention or a mental health facility? It's not different in the sense that education still happens. It is very different in the sense that the environment is different and there are security issues that have to be taken care of. People that are in jail, if you're under 18 and you're in juvenile detention, aka jail for minors, you do still have to go to school, and there are teachers that go to those places that teach. Key recommended the middle. All right. I'm going to have to scroll down some. Toontail Official mentions the Magic School Bus. Isaac says, would you ever like to teach SpongeBob to drive? I would teach him to drive, but I would not get in the boat with him. Crotchy, Knight Rider with David Hasselhoff. I haven't seen that in quite a while. Have you seen the show? I have, a long time ago. I was quite young at the time, so I didn't really understand it. But that theme song, I mean, you can't beat that. Knight Rider theme, I mean, that's pretty iconic. You can't beat that. Gohan Perez says, hello, I'm Larry. I'm going to have to scroll down. Gabby says, television theory is the one driving in me insane. I'll have to check that out. I do want to go back to the Alex Bale theory videos. I did really enjoy watching those, and he puts a lot of thought into that, really makes you think. And I remember the last ones that I reacted to myself I really enjoyed myself, so I'll have to take a look at that one. Television theory. Thank you very much for that. Lathan Lopez, Ellen DeGeneres, had a school-related sitcom. Warrior for Christ. Yeah, not the mama, over and over again. Midnight Kitten, Alex Bale Theory, Blues Clues, okay. All right. Lathan Lopez, have you seen kids waste their time protesting dress code over doing schoolwork? Yeah, I have been at schools where kids would protest the dress code and write letters and write petitions. And what they didn't realize was it was really the Board of Education that did that. If you're a principal, your job is not to make the rules as much as enforce the rules, because that comes from the school board, the dress code. Midnight Kitten, we all had school uniforms here with rare days when you got to wear your own clothes. Yeah, we would have what we would call non-uniform days or spirit days, where you were allowed to not wear the school uniform. Scrolling down. I'm sorry if I skip your message. Bam Music says, what's up, brother? I hope you're doing well. Key, please not the 6'7" meme. Yeah. Okay. Even Stevens. Yep. Perfect Angel. I'll probably recommend or react to that eventually. All right. Scrolling down. Sorry if I skip your episode. Ricky Rack says, can you react to more King of the Hill? Yes, I do plan to. I'm really hoping that over Christmas break I get to do a lot more new content. And then on regular days as well. A few days ago, I did 2 new reactions. Haven't really done much since I moved into this new studio space. What did I do? I did SpongeBob, The Lost Mattress, and I did Victorious Episode 2, which was really good. Hank the Tank is here. Lathan Lopez, have you met parents who don't care about the school dress code? Yes, I have, but you have to go by it or you end up getting in trouble. Z01XY says hello. Sorry if I skip your comment. Brett reply, where did you get your stuff in your studio? Let's see. I think I got the plant from like IKEA or something. These plushes came from just a regular retail store, like either Walmart. I think maybe Five Below had some at some point. The Hey Arnold's came from Five Below, I believe. The portrait here came from another YouTuber who, there's a video on my channel that I think it's where I react to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. If you go to that video, it shows a fast motion version of him painting it, which was pretty cool. The books, I can't remember where I got those. I've had those a long time. The clapperboard came from YouTube. The Ned's Declassified Guide replica came from Amazon. And it's just blank on the inside, like you could use it as a notebook. And then the globe, I don't know. It was just a regular retail store, maybe Target or something. I can't remember. But that's where it came from. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry if I skip yours. Midnight Kitten says, at my high school there were 2 married teachers. Yeah, and that does happen. I've had that many times before. That's pretty common. Yeah, and thank you, mods. Appreciate it, mods, for keeping us safe. Shajita says, I have a lovesick teacher is episode of Carly. Yeah, if you've seen my reaction to that. Yes. Lathon, yeah, Abbott Elementary is on my list. Brett reply, have you had students faking having a disability? I don't know if I've had... Actually, I may have. I'm trying to think. I want to say yes. I believe so. I can't remember the specific instances, but I believe I have had students, or they did have it more commonly. They did have a disability, a legitimate one, but they would do a bunch of other stuff that was not part of their disability, really just to get out of doing work. Okay, so y'all are telling me that the audio has cut out. Hopefully y'all can hear me now. Okay, yes, I think it cut out for a minute, but now it's back. Okay. Brett replied, did a fire happen at your school? No, never had a fire. Now, we have had things that have caused smoke that have set off the fire alarm. I have had that before. Sir Cash Chopin, my school used a megaphone and walked down the halls. Yes, also known as a bullhorn. You do have that in case of emergencies. Hank the Tank, would you consider yourself a holidays person? Yes, I would. Let's see. Darren Haverlock, hey Brandon, do you get snow in Georgia? Generally, no. Every once in a while, you do. We had it a few years ago. It was a freak chance of snow we did have. If you live in northern Georgia in the mountains, you tend to get snow more often. Any other part of Georgia, generally not. Okay. I'm going to have to skim some messages, and I'm starting to get tired, and I'm looking at the clock, and of course, we're almost at 2 hours. I don't know why. Every time, 2 hours is when I get tired. It is almost 10 p.m. Here where I live. Let's see. Skimming through your messages. Tyler Caswell says, have you ever heard of a show called Henry Danger? Yep. Isaac, if you were hired as the James K. Polk Middle School principal, would you immediately fire anyone like Gordy or Krubbs? Gordy is probably gone immediately. Krubbs might be gone, but if not, he's going to be put on a professional learning plan, which is it leads to you being non-renewed usually, if you don't improve. Let's see. Midnight Kitten. A couple years ago, I caught a stream where an earthquake started. Yeah. There's some crazy stories about stuff happening during people's live streams. Hopefully that never happens with mine. Brett reply, have you had students who had drug addictions? Yes. It is really horrible, both with illegal drugs and much more commonly vaping. And I'm sorry if you vape, I don't hate you, okay, but I do hate vapes because I've seen what it can do to people. People will say to me it's better than cigarettes, and even if that's true, it doesn't mean it's a good thing or a positive thing. You're addicted to nicotine for really no reason. And it's expensive, and it's illegal if you're under a certain age. There are all sorts of problems with it. So yes, I have had students who've had drug addictions, and I've had many more students who have had addictions to vaping. They just can't stop. So, no matter what we do to try to get them to stop or give them consequences, they're always sneaking off, trying to do it. It's a really sad situation. Okay. Warrior for Christ is going to another live stream. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Karachi talking about Kaimani. I think he just likes the channel. Okay. Hank the Tank, favorite Christmas song. There's so many good ones. You know what? I tend to gravitate toward like the old, and when I say old, I mean like hundreds of years old, like Coventry Carol, stuff like that, from hundreds of years ago. Coventry Carol, if you're not familiar with it, you can look it up and hear some pretty good versions of it. Again, because of the chord progressions, it's really quite good. Chill Aspirin is here, new channel member. Nice to see you. Andrew Wright, will you react to Ed Nettie? Eventually, yes. A lot of you guys asked for that. Max or Chow, what do you think about zero tolerance policies in schools? It depends on what we're talking about. So somebody asked me one time about like zero tolerance for fighting, and some people will say, well, zero tolerance policies don't make any sense, but some things do make sense, I would say. I mean, what are you going to do? Say that a certain amount of fighting is okay and that you're fine with people being hurt? I think what most people mean when they say zero tolerance means that you're going to get some consequences. And in a lot of places, if you take the step to physically hurt someone, then you're going to have some sort of other placement. You're not going to be allowed to go to the same school in the same way as everybody else, basically. If you're willing to go to those lengths to actually harm someone else, then your privileges to go to that same school in the same manner that everybody else does is going to have to be curtailed. I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind saying that, because it's not, at that point, it's not just about you. It's about protecting the other hundreds or thousands of people that go to that school. All right. Gabby says, let's go. Hank the Tank, would you consider yourself a film buff? Not really. There are certain movies that I do like a lot, but that's why, if you remember when I play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which I want to do, if you enjoyed that, we're going to do that soon. Certainly sometime over Christmas break. I usually do really badly when it comes to like pop culture and actors and actresses' names and things like that. Sally's song. Yeah, that's what it was. Yes, Gabby says, there's something in the wind. Da, 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 da. I can't remember. You got to have the chords with it too. It's so good. It's so good. I was listening to that earlier today. I think that's the same song anyway. Miss Key, do you have a favorite classical song? I have many favorites. I tend to like Chopin, some of the piano stuff. I like string quartets. I like brass quartets. I like so many composers. Shostakovich and Tchaikovsky's good. Stravinsky. The Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra is a good one. Mozart is good. Haydn is good. Bach is good. So many. Let's see. Fox Fan Alley. Is it common in your school that teachers spy on the students? And I'm not sure what you mean by that. You'd have to give me some more details. You say, Fox Fan Alley says, my teacher used to spy on me all the time. And you'll have to tell me, like, how did they spy on you? That's really, like, if they watched you as they were in the hall, as you were in the hallway, that's different. If they, like, stalked you at the grocery store, that's different. So it depends on what you mean. Fox Fan Alley, is it wrong to yawn in class? I got told off for a week for yawning in class. Is it wrong? No. Is it polite? Also no. Does it show a lack of interest? Yes. It makes it look like you're not paying attention. Now, getting told off, it depends on what you mean, right? So if the person was overly harsh, I wouldn't condone that. If they just said, hey, try to stay alert in class, I don't have a problem with it. Lathon, are classrooms different in juvenile detention or mental health facilities? Yes. The physical environment, yes. Very much so. Fox Fan Alley, but obviously it wasn't my fault because I had to get up at 6 a.m. And my question would be, what time were you going to bed? Would be my question. Brett reply, yeah, I think I was listening to the Amy Lee version on YouTube. It's really quite good. Let's see. Isaac, yeah, I see what you're saying with SpongeBob, but I think I'm going to stick with using a number of viewer recommendations. JJ's, yep, Saved by the Bell. Lathon Lopez, Boston Public, yes, every once in a while. Lathon Lopez, did you always want to be a teacher? No, I started out wanting to be a professional musician, but I soon found that there's just much more of a demand for music teachers than there are professional musicians. Not that you can't do that, it's just there are a lot fewer jobs available. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, where was I? I'm way behind. Okay. I'm gonna really go fast this time. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to skip a bunch of messages. JJ Zone, a Sandy plush should go on the shelf. I like that. So far, we've got Sandy plush, a portrait of Trunchbull. That was Gabby's suggestion. And what was the other one? There was another one. Something from Victorious. That would be good. Lathon Lopez, what happens if a teacher quits midway through the school year? That is considered abandonment of contract. I was listening to some training on that today, during the day, in fact. So teachers are given a contract every year. That protects them and it protects the school district. So during that period of time, it's typically one school year, on one hand, the school can't just fire you for no reason. They can fire you for reasons, for good reasons, for cause. They cannot fire you just because they don't like you or because for something small or because they don't want you anymore, they want somebody different. They can't. It protects you for that year. But it also protects the school from the teacher just quitting and the students being without a teacher. And if you do that, if you abandon your contract, it's different in every state, but in Georgia, they can go after you for an ethical violation and have your certificate suspended or revoked so that you can't go teach somewhere else. Some districts also have it in the contract where I've seen it where it basically says if you quit, if you abandon your contract, we're going to take $1,000 out of your last paycheck to pay for the recruiting of a new teacher. And that is legal if it's in the contract and you signed it that way. So it's an ethical issue. It's considered abandonment of contract. Okay. And yeah, Hank, I'm going to have to skip. Yeah, Miss T, referring to the Omega virus. Help me. If you're familiar with the Omega virus, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Hank the Tank, you'll probably have some trouble finding it since that was a toy from the 90s, but you never know. Turner Winstead, have you ever been bullied in high school? In high school, not so much. Middle school, some levels of bullying, but not physical. It was more just constant mocking for things like shoes and clothes. I think most of us have been there. In high school, not so much. Brian Hicks recommending Keenan and Kel. Key says, I'm going to miss the Polk Middle School shirt. Yeah, I still have it. I'll have to bring it back from time to time just for nostalgia's sake. Crotchy, thoughts on Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a free program where you can learn just about anything. I do highly recommend it. Turner Winstead, have you had an unhealthy relationship? If you mean me personally, no. Have I seen that? If you meant that, then yes. We had a fight recently. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. It's never positive and nothing good ever comes from that. Lathon Lopez, what was it like meeting Ron Clark? I have some pictures that I can show of me at the Ron Clark Academy. It was pretty cool. He has an interesting take on education, and we tried to take things from that and implement them at our school. Turner Winstead, have you been in a red lockdown before? If you mean like for safety, for something serious happening, yes. Those happen. Those are called different things. We don't call it a red lockdown, but I know what you mean. So the answer is yes, I have been in those before, unfortunately. All right, I'm going to skip some comments. Sorry if I skip your message. I am sort of skimming them. Do public schools still take the STAR test? That's from Toontail Official. I'm not familiar with that one. The standardized test that people, I'm trying to get this to go away. The standardized tests that people take are different from state to state. Lathon would watch a movie about Tinker versus Des Moines. Yeah, if you're asking me that, would I watch a movie about it? Probably not. Tinker versus Des Moines is a landmark case that you learn about in school law. Before you become a school administrator, you have to take a course in school law where you learn about mostly Supreme Court cases that have guided different things about school governance and what is legal and what is not, particularly when it comes to First Amendment issues and Fourth Amendment issues and free speech. You do have to learn a lot of law, the law base, basically. And Tinker versus Des Moines was in the 60s or 70s, and it was about these kids that wore these armbands to school in protest of the Vietnam War, and the kids won, and it really started to draw the boundaries as far as, okay, what can schools tell you can or can't wear at school, and what can you censor as far as your speech, particularly when it comes to political speech. It's always a ever-evolving, complicated issue. Fox fan, are principals scary sometimes? I would say yes. It depends on the person and on the personality. You don't have to be scary, but you do, I think, have to be firm. There's a difference there. You don't have to be harsh or mean or even scary, but I think you do have to make people know that if you cross certain lines, you're going to hold them accountable. You can be as nice as you want. You can smile, but they have to know if they cross the line, they're going to be held accountable. But there's different ways to do that other than being scary. Okay. Moving on. The Splinter episode, I will do it eventually. It's gonna be awful from what I hear, but it's gonna be pretty gross. Good luck, Charlie. Yes, it's on the list. All right, I've got this going on again. All right. Key, yes, I'm going to play more games. I'm got to get to the end. I know there's way more that I'm seeing here. It's got to load it. Gabby says, just so you know, Brandon, we've long been on here for an hour. Feels more, but we've only been on here for 1 hour. Really? Well, I think it's 2 hours, right? We've been on here for 2 hours at this point. Roger Zachary, at my high school, had an electrical fire during a pep assembly. Wow, and had to go outside in the snow. That's pretty crazy. Yep, almost another 2 hour stream. 2 hours later. Crotchy, do you like Jingle Bell Rock? Yep, I like that song. Yeah, Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, Robin Laid an Egg. All right, so this is the end of the chat, but there's a bunch of this that I haven't read yet. Right about here was where I'm at. Dragon Flare Frog says, whoa, you're live. Nice surprise after school. Fox Fan Alley, like if I were at lunch sometimes and I'd be talking, my friends and my teachers would often try to hide. Okay. Lathon Lopez, you keep asking about this. So people in you call them mental health facilities, those do exist. Those are for people who have mostly for people who have exhibited some type of behavior where they're a danger to themselves or to others. It's really unfortunate, but I've had many students that have gone to a treatment facility for a period of time, and the learning continues there depending on how long they're there, and in juvenile detention as well. So you keep asking, how is the classroom different? It's different because of the environment, because the rules are different at those places, and in both scenarios, there's a huge concern about the safety of the people there, because there have been, instances of people being attacked, people doing harm to themselves. It's really sad. So yes, it looks a lot different, and that's all I'll say. Dragon Flare Frog, I won't go into the new position, but yes, it's true. After June 30th of this year, I've made a community post about it. I transitioned from being a principal, from being a different type of administrator. I'm not going to go into it, but I'm still an administrator with a school district. Okay, scrolling down. Miss Key, why do some students think that teachers aren't people? I don't know, but that is sort of true. They just don't think of them in that way. They think of them as their teacher, and that's all they are, and they're not a human being. Toontail Official, do you have any pets? I have a bearded dragon. I thought about putting him back here somewhere so you can kind of see him crawl around, but at the moment, he's been in this weird, funky hibernation for 2 or 3 months. And he's done this once before where he didn't move. He'd go under a rock and go to sleep basically for months at a time. He wouldn't move. He wouldn't come out. He wouldn't even eat or drink hardly. I don't know how he survived. And then one day he just came out. And then every day after that he would just come out and act normal. But he's on this weird hibernation right now. Let's see. Lathon, you're asking some weird questions. I don't know if I can get into some of the stuff you're asking. Darren Haverlock, can you play for Elise? Yeah, it's been a long time since I played that, but yes, I can. Let's see. Jamal Simpson, what's your favorite films starring or co-starring Lindsay Shaw? I am not sure about that. Lathon, have you heard the Loomer actor is now a marine biologist? That's pretty cool. Lives in New Zealand. Nick Ronka, did you know the band Red Hot Chili Peppers, and do you know the band Train? I believe I know both of those, I think. Wizards of Waverly Place, okay, Short Wolf. Crotchy, thoughts on ASMR? It's an interesting trend that's emerged in terms of YouTube. There was one stream, this had to be at least a month or two ago, where I was talking about, people were saying I was doing ASMR, and I didn't mean to. What was I talking about? Somebody was asking about Super Smash Brothers, and they were talking about the Wii Fit character, and I was the yoga teacher, and I was talking about how much I enjoyed Wii Fit. I wish they would make a new Wii Fit, a new version of it with the board and everything. That was my favorite. But I was making fun of it because on the Wii Fit, the yoga instructor would say, and this is where people would say I was doing ASMR. They would go, and now just raise your arm in this way and breathe in and be very careful to breathe. And they would say it like that. And I was kind of making fun of it, and people would say Principal ASMR. And it was so funny because in the game Super Smash Brothers, you go from that to like, drop kicking people and stuff like that. It's a weird trend that's come up. It's interesting. Lathon, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Swearing over the monitor, I'm not sure what you mean. Fox fan, also been told off with yawning. My teacher would tell me, zip it, sister. That's probably right on the line. Zip it, sister. That's right at the line of, I probably wouldn't say that. Would she get in some big trouble for that? Should probably just be told to tone it down a little bit. There's ways of addressing the yawning without saying that. Yeah, try not to yawn. I mean, you're allowed to tell people, hey, pay attention, because I think that really that's what you're trying to say. Pay attention, which that's why you're there. Okay. I can tell this bothered you. I'm sorry this has stuck with you for some time about getting told about yawning. Hopefully they weren't too harsh. Lathon Lopez, the Ron Clark movie is free on YouTube. Sure, Cashpin. Oh man, we're at the end. We need to do something to keep him here for 3 hours. I don't think I can go another hour, but I'll give it another 10 minutes at least. Crotchy, I accidentally broke an exit sign trying to tap it due to student pressure. Yeah, you got to be careful. Don't let people manipulate you. Max Orchow, do you think the use of profanity should be banned in high schools, even outside of class? It seems like social norms are somewhat changing, but many schools still have old school policies. I don't disagree with that. If you mean outside of class, like in the hallway and like in the lobby of the school, yes, I think it should be prohibited. It's not positive. It's not in any way positive. And I've met a lot of students who had a limited ability to control that, and it was a good opportunity for them to try and work on that, because you don't want to be out in the real world and you're not even able to control it. You're just dropping F-bombs everywhere. It's not going to bode well for your job prospects. There are some jobs where it probably doesn't matter whether you curse or not, but a lot of people and a lot of companies are not going to tolerate that. Okay, skipping a few here. We're getting toward the end. Whoop, a bunch of stuff just loaded. Okay, where am I at? Ramey Jr., yeah, I'm just not going to ever be able to do South Park. I'm sorry. Joseph, yep, finally doing Victorious. Sam Cook, if your bearded dragon went under a rock, did he meet Patrick Starr? I like that. I should get him a rock like Patrick has. It doesn't look quite the same. Key, yes, the Wii Fit trainer. Lathon Lopez, can you play trombone? Yes, I can. That was actually my first instrument. I played trombone on a professional level. I performed in Europe a couple of times as well, trombone, and done some other pretty cool things. That was like my main instrument. So I play all the instruments at different levels. On the last live stream, I played some instruments, and I did have my trombone out. I don't have it out right now, but no one asked me to play it. So yes, I do definitely play the trombone. Dragon Flare Frog, have your school ever been sued for violating a student's rights? No. Do you have lawyers, or did your school have to hire lawyers? Most schools do have a lawyer on retainer, either their own lawyer or a firm that represents a bunch of school districts that they can call if they do have legal trouble. It's okay to be vague to protect the party. So yes, I think I answered the question. Key, it was in late October. Yep. Let's see. Gabby, yeah, Principal ASMR for the win. Yep, Sir Cashapin too. Yeah, I think it was you that said that, Gabby. You and a couple other people. Crotchy, what are your thoughts on weird fiction works? I'm not familiar with those that you mentioned. Darren Haverlock, hey Brandon, so awesome that you have a bearded dragon. I live in the Mojave Desert and we have many reptiles. Yeah, and it's like that in South Florida as well. I've been to the Florida Keys a few times before, and every time, like when you get down to like Fort Lauderdale, Port St. Lucie, kind of toward Miami, you start seeing them everywhere. I remember being on I-95 going from Georgia to Florida, and it's kind of normal most of the way. And then I remember stopping at either McDonald's or Taco Bell, and I look over in the parking lot, and there's like these huge iguanas just walking around randomly, like eating trash. And so whereas in Georgia you might see a stray cat or a stray dog or your occasional mouse or something, in South Florida it's like that. You see these iguanas, and I saw some on the Florida Keys that looked like miniature crocodiles. They were that big, just walking around like in random parking lots. It was really weird. Lathon, have you met teachers as permissive as Simmons? Yes, I have, and those teachers have a really hard time, and a lot of them end up quitting if they don't get support or work on their classroom management. Because the kids, much like they do in Hey Arnold, just run all over them. They just do, and it's really sad. Haki, principal reacts ASMR. Crotchy, what PBS shows did you grow up with? I don't remember watching a whole lot of PBS. I remember Arthur, but I didn't really watch it so much. I watched other stuff. Krish says, what is the process and story of you becoming an educator from principal to administration? How did the process look like in Georgia, or how does it look like? So really briefly, in Georgia, and this is going to be the case in most states, you minimally need a bachelor's degree in something, could be virtually anything, and then you also need to pass the certification test. There's a test for each subject, or 2 tests for each subject. There's usually 2 per subject, and you pass those, and then that allows you to interview for jobs and get a teaching certificate. So you need a bachelor's degree and the certification test. Here in Georgia, it's called the GACE, G-A-C-E. It's called the Georgia Assessment for the Certification of Educators. So if you have a bachelor's degree and you have passed one of those tests, you can be a teacher. So from going to administration, there's you have to have on your teaching certificate, it's called educational leadership and or a degree in educational leadership. And so I got my bachelor's degree and master's degree in music education. And then I got a specialist degree in educational leadership, which allowed me to interview for administrative roles. So I was an assistant principal for 2 different high schools, and then I became a principal of a high school. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Ramey, there was a student that kept picking at her skin, and the teacher slaps the ruler on their table and said, knock it off. That's probably too far. That teacher can probably get in a little bit of trouble for that, but it's not going to be a firing. It's going to be some lower level of discipline. Lathon, were you against Michelle Obama Hunger Free Act? I'm not sure what you mean. I don't know the ins and outs of the Hunger Free Act. I do know one of her biggest things was childhood obesity. Some of the things she did were not popular, but I won't say there wasn't a problem. I mean, it remains an issue for a lot of kids, either not being active enough or having a really, really bad diet. So one of the things we noticed in schools, and you can still see it today, is that for a lot of schools that have vending machines, you're not going to see the regular full sugar version of those drinks in a lot of vending machines because of things that she did or implemented. Y'all are asking some heavy questions. Dragon Flare Frog, what's your opinion of the Mahoney area school versus BL case? The cheerleader who cursed on social media and was sanctioned for it. Also, did you generally support the Tinker case? Wow. Okay. So I do know of that case. I heard about it a couple years ago when it came out at the legal conference that I was attending, where we look at new cases. If you're not familiar with it, you can look it up. It was this girl who was, she was suspended or something she didn't make the cheerleading team. And so she made a post flicking off the camera saying like cussing everybody out, and she was suspended for that. And there is a constant debate about, okay, under what circumstances can you be suspended for things that you say on social media? And I think the end result was that the school went too far in what they did for that. I cannot remember. I'd have to go back and review my notes. But it's very complicated. I think that the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution is very important, and it needs to be protected. However, there are limits to that, and the biggest issue for schools is whenever you threaten someone. Most of the time, that's the line that's drawn. So in that case, she wasn't saying, hey, I'm going to come to school tomorrow and beat up the cheerleading coach. It was just, F this, F that, lots of profanity, and that's it. So, but you can absolutely get yourself in trouble if you threaten people on social media. People that go to that same school, you can get in some definite trouble. Did I support the Tinker case? Generally, yes. Again, it's a First Amendment issue. You are allowed to have political speech. The issue often is how disruptive is that? Are you doing something that is so controversial that school cannot happen? It's so controversial. Is it disrupting the school where you can't even have class because it's so controversial? So that's often the issue that comes up. Good question. Didn't mean to go so far on that one. Favorite genres to read? I always liked sci-fi myself. Favorite song? I have many favorites. I don't know if I have a favorite song. Lately, it's been that one from The Nightmare Before Christmas that we were talking about earlier. Which food is more tasty, Italian or Asian? And Asian, that's a broad category of food, but I would have to go with Asian if I had to pick between the two. Lathon says they're from Miami, so you know what I'm talking about with the monster iguanas down there. The Pizza Turtle, can you do Steven Universe? Okay, I can look at that. Crotchy, do you play video games? I most certainly do. I was earlier today playing Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. I tend to like that game. Sir Cashapin, which state have you been to? I've been to a lot of them. I've probably been to roughly half the states, but not nearly all of them. Miss Key, what's your least favorite Hey Arnold episode? I haven't done all that many. I think I've done maybe 10 of them. I don't know. I don't know which one is my least favorite because it's been a while since I've done a lot of them. Lathon, react to Everybody Hates Chris. Favorite teachers are very permissive. Yeah, and by very permissive, I would just call that weak and not having good classroom management practices. Gabby says, are you still planning to watch SpongeBob The Big Birthday Blowout? Sorry to ask again, just curious. It is on the list. It's possible that it may have to either be 2 parts instead of 1, or I may have to cut out a significant portion of the episode because I think it's just it's just a single episode. Crotchy, have you ever seen Back to the Future? Many times I have. And I think I've reacted to it on this channel too. Krish says, appreciate you sharing. Lathon says, have you seen 10 Things I Hate About You? I've not. Let's see if there's more messages. Yep. I think I'm almost to the end there, though. And it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes, I think. I think we're about due to stop here in a minute, but not yet. Darren Haverlock says, thank you for answering my question. Hope you have a great night. Sir Goggles, my mom says, if I get one more C, I get the chokey. Okay, hopefully that doesn't happen. Lathon Lopez, I'm the 70s, 80s teacher. Slapping with the rulers was common. Yeah, it was very different back in that time, for sure. Raimi, I'm in the same boat as SpongeBob. Not that I'll be driving a boat, but I really want that driver's license. Yeah, just be careful, be safe, know the rules of the road, know the license requirements in your state. Okay. All right. I'm scrolling down. Okay. Scrolling down. I think we're at the end now. Have you seen the Ruby Bridges movie? No. What do you think of Bee Gees? They're fine. I'm not a huge fan, but they're okay. Miss Key, do you like Michael Jackson? Yeah, he's got some good stuff. Okay. Sam Cook, I'm playing Bannerlord right now as I listen to your stream. Okay. I wonder what path you took or what kingdom you're in or what, whatever. Chris, is there a show where everybody hates me? Everybody hates Chris. Cratchy, would you react to the George Lopez show? Yes, if everybody or enough people recommend it. Sir Cashman listing the states that he's been to. Lathan Lopez, is it cheating to use a time machine to study for a history test? You mean sounds like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure to me. Dragon Flare Frog, what's your opinion on anonymous grading? Specifically for a final exam, a teacher forbids a student from including their name and instead must use an ID number. There's nothing wrong with that. It is a little weird. If there were an issue with maybe allegations of favoritism, I've never heard of a place doing that though. That's weird. John Smith, that's a paddling. You better believe that's a paddling. I can't do the Simpsons voice. There used to be an administrator I worked with that I kind of joked with him that he was like that guy, and I even showed him the clip. It was pretty funny. And he did paddle people too, because you can do that in Georgia. JJ Zone, what do you think of a VC? Great music. I know he's not with us anymore, but great music. Sam Cook, I was playing an Imperial character, but sailing around mostly with Vlandians and Sturgeons. Yeah, I haven't. I've been playing it a lot since they redid parts of it, but I don't have war sails. Obviously, you do. I don't know if it's worth it or not. I haven't gotten it yet. You'll have to tell me what you think. Warrior for Christ, how do you deal with manipulative people? I think you just have to recognize what they're doing and just not allow them to do that and just be direct with them. Not harsh or mean, but direct. Crotchy, any future plans for the channel when you reach 100 subs? Ooh, or 1 million subs? Well, let's hope I make it to that. We're almost to 20,000. I do plan on doing a special live stream and giving away some stuff. I like to do that. Lathon, is in Peru shaving students' hair still legal? Okay. Yeah, the old days of taking a student out and shaving their head, no, it just doesn't fly. Has been against the rules for quite some time. Lathon Lopez, many schools in Peru still have hair length codes. Yeah, I remember back in the day you had that. When I was in school, there was something in the handbook about hair distracting to the environment, the school environment. And it's who's the judge of that? I remember you couldn't have long, crazy colored hair or whatever, especially if you were a guy. Nowadays, there's not really rules against that. Crotchy, have you seen Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Yeah, I know about it. Great theme song, for sure. I haven't seen a ton of episodes, though. Ramey says, do you know any public schools like the ones in Spokane, Washington? I went to Deer Park. I got unenrolled from junior high because the students were very pushy to me. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Fox Fan Alley. Is it wrong to call out a kid in class if they made a mistake on their paper? Again, it depends on what you mean by calling them out. If it means addressing the mistake and correcting them in front of the class in a sort of positive way to correct everybody, I mean, that's best practice. Now, if you're being really mean about it, that's a different thing. It depends on how you're doing it, I think. Karachi, when you were in school, was there anyone famous you went to school with? Yeah, I'm not going to call their names. I think there were a couple of people that ended up playing for the Atlanta Braves that were in my class, but I'm not going to call their names here. Fox Fan Alley, like if they didn't follow directions and they called you out loud. And again, it depends on how they're doing it, what words they're using, their tone of voice. It sort of depends. Danny Gonzalez, nice to see you. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. Lathon, react to 10 things I hate about you. Warrior for Christ, do you think checking in on people has a negative effect, meaning when someone says it's harassment? It depends. How often are you doing it? Depends on the relationship dynamic between the two people, what you're checking in on them about, why you're saying you need to do that. That's a complicated question. Chris, sorry this is too personal or sounds mean, but do you shave your head voluntarily, or is it just as George Constanza? It's true hair loss. No, I don't just shave my head for fun. No, I just think it looks better this way. I have not had hair up here for a while now. It's there, but it's like so thin, it just doesn't look good. So, no. Hank the Tank, I'll look up Coventry Carol. Yeah, I like it. I like that kind of stuff. Miss Key, have you ever heard a parrot sing the SpongeBob theme song? No, but I'm guessing that exists on YouTube and other places. Hank the Tank, one of these days Brandon will be Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but again, the world will end at some point too. Oh, okay, sounds like a challenge. Yeah, I think I got up to the 250,000, but we need to play that again. We need to beat it. Lathon, have seen schools, teacher, principal will go to... I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Fox Fan Alley, was you ever a favorite kid in school? A favorite kid? You mean like of the teacher? Maybe. I mean, I just didn't act up. I'm sure they appreciated that. I just didn't act out in class. We're almost to the end here. It's been 2.5 hours. I've gone more than 2 hours this time. Nick Ronka says, have you ever heard of Lemonade Mouth? It's a Disney Channel. Somebody did say something about that. I don't know what it is, but somebody else did mention that. Lathon, do you think you could get on GMA? Forgot what that is. I don't know what that is. Fox Fan Alley, like this. I'm not going to say any names, but did I say not to go ahead? You mean like you're imitating your teacher? Yeah, it's hard for me to say that without really knowing what happened. Karachi, thoughts on Tom and Jerry and Scooby-Doo? Sometimes people do recommend those for the channel. I don't have an issue with either of those. Short Wolf says you should also watch 100 Things to Do Before High School. That comes up a lot. Lathon Lopez, are you going to react to Remember the Titans or Smart Guy? Yes. And notice like how many different things are being mentioned just in this stream. Here, can I do? No, it's over here. Here in the chat. And think about it. I have a running series on Friday and Tuesday, so that leaves 1 day per week where I could do something different. So some people think that I'm against all these shows. It's just lack of time, right? So I will get to all these things eventually. The good thing is I'll probably never run out of ideas because you all have given me so many ideas. Sure, Cashapin, we need around 30 more minutes. I'm thinking more like 5 to 10. Chris says, is the SpongeBob movie available for Hall Pass members? I think it's on a roll, sadly. I think it's on a roll or higher. Dragon Flare Frog, what's your opinion of grade appeals in school? If you mean, I'm not familiar with grade appeals. We had attendance was a big deal at the schools that I was at, and we had these appeals for that. I don't have an issue with it. I would have to look at what the process is and what the intent is as far as like, I'm guessing you mean, hey, I failed a class, but I just failed by a little bit, and I want to appeal. And usually the school will say something like, okay, well, if you want to make up these few points, you have to do something. You have to do either extra work or extra school days or extra assignments or summer school or something to make that up. So as long as it's reasonable and balanced, I don't have an issue with it. All right. Here I am with a lot more messages came in. Alex says, I got to get my stuff done tomorrow. Goodbye for now. See you, Alex. Good morning, America. Thank you. Lathon and Sherkashipan. Nick Ronka, Lemonade Mouth. Yeah, it was you mentioning it. Hank the Tank, I'm a big fan of Sam Cooke. Mythical Phoenix Heart, Lemonade Mouth would be a good movie to react to. Okay. Lathon, Pup Named Scooby-Doo. JJ Zone, Spock, Kirk, or Picard? Picard, for sure. Key says, is it overwhelming? I'm not sure what you were talking about. Hank the Tank, Brandon's cardio is improving. I guess so. I don't know. I think it's more, I have a more comfortable chair this time, and I have my Mountain Dew. Crotchy, what do you think writers haven't explored in school-centered genre yet? I'm not sure. Realism? Sometimes I think that. Lathon, yep, I have more time during winter break. Fox fan, because I used to accidentally go ahead when we do. Oh, I see. Man, somebody was mean to you, I guess. Warriors for Christ says, Family Matters with the Guns episode. Okay. Alex, what would you rate the episode Demolition Doofus? Probably like a 6. Ramey says, fun fact, Hollywood actor Craig Nelson from Spokane graduated from... okay. Chill Aspirin, I remember I had a detention because someone was making me cry. We both got detention because we're both part of the situation. Yeah. And that's tough. That's a tough situation to be in. Hank the Tank, there was a surprising amount of good SpongeBob episodes in the later seasons. Yeah, Cracked Crabs being one of them. I think that was season 7. JJ Zone, have you ever had a student try to do extra credit last week? Yes, that happens a lot. Too much. Where a student will be failing and they'll try to like turn in an entire semester's worth of work, and teachers hate that. They really hate it. Mary Robert is recommending the Krusty Bucket. Cratchy is going to sleep. See you later. Thanks for joining us. We're almost done also, and I'm going to go to sleep. Let's see. Chris says, I checked and it said it's available for Hall Pass. Okay. Yeah, there are some, there are a few members only videos that are for Hall Pass that you can see with the Hall Pass level, but not many of them. Most of them are on a roll and above. Okay, do. That's right, Hank. Let's see. Scrolling, just scanning down here. A 6 or a 7, yeah, that's right. 6 or 7. JJ Zone, what do you think about ChatGPT? Very useful if you know how to use it ethically. Okay. All right. I think it's time. We're at the 2 hour and 35 minute mark. Thank you for joining me on this stream. It is 10:30 p.m. where I'm at, and maybe where you are too. I know we have people joining us from all around the world and all over the U.S. So thank you for joining me on the stream. Thank you. A special thanks to the donators. And all the contributors to the chat and all of your questions and commenters and viewers of my videos. I really appreciate all the support. I'll see you tomorrow on the video, on the Cracked Crabs video, if you're not a channel member and haven't already seen it. But thank you for joining us on the stream. I will see you next time, which I guess for you will be tomorrow on the Cracked Crabs SpongeBob reaction video. Have a good night, everybody, and I will see you on the next stream. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.